1140. Find us on YouTube at Sactown Sports 1140.
It's time for Alan Stiles and Chris Watkins.
Yes. For the first time, officially in the offseason, Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. as the Kings find themselves in the midst of a very, very important offseason because they lost 105-98 for the sixth straight time to the New Orleans Pelicans, did not even break 100. Talking to Carmichael Dave and Jason Ross, who were in New Orleans. New Orleans fans, as loud as they were, they didn't even feel good about it. Everybody thought that the Kings were going to come in and take care of business, and unfortunately, that was not the case. Chris Watkins, how you doing?
Good. Needed the weekend to kind of, recenter and, not let the emotions get too high, get too low. And it felt like a really long weekend with the game being on Friday, but at the same time, it was very, very necessary. And then watching the weekend of basketball, especially the game last night where the Kings would have been in that game, for a second, I was like, I could not imagine if the Kings were still in the throes of this thing and we were just getting started with a new series last night. Obviously would have been a very welcome thing, but at the same time, just felt a little bit crazy of just how many games would have been shoved in here this week. And credit New Orleans, who did make it a game yesterday. I don't know, with all the things that have gone on with the Kings, and, we're going to talk about it, but Keegan Murray pulling his groin probably wouldn't have even been available for game one.
Yeah.
Would have definitely been an interesting game had the Kings played last night. So, there's parts of me that are glad that it's over, parts of me that are, of course, upset that we can't continue this journey. But ultimately, it feels like the right thing happened. And this team, as much as I think we all hope that they would make the postseason this year, I think watching all of the competition this weekend, I don't know if the Kings really were one of the best 8 teams in the Western Conference this year.
Specifically with
how they were, situated.
Yes,
right now.
with how they were situated, and to be honest, when you see how all the teams played, there were some blowouts, right? But I don't think a home team, every home team won, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So I don't know that the Kings would have put up a much better fight than the Pelicans. And look, both sides were doing it. I saw Warriors fans saying, Warriors fans, if you would have just beat the Kings and then beat the Pelicans, you would have had a chance against the Thunder. I saw Kings fans saying, man, watching this Pelicans Thunder game, you would have had a shot. I saw Laker fans from the top rope saying, man, if we had done that manipulation, we would have beat this team in 5 games, because now they have to deal with the Nuggets. Can all of you stop?
Yeah.
Can all of you just stop? Yeah. All right. The way I see it is this, Chris. If the Kings were good enough to win in New Orleans, they probably never would have been in New Orleans, if that makes sense. If the Kings were good enough to win in New Orleans, right? And we convinced ourselves that they could be good enough, they could be hitting this stride. But if the Kings were good enough to win that game in New Orleans, they probably never would have been in that situation to begin with. This season ended the way we saw this season unfold for the last 10 games, where it was fairly competitive, but you just ultimately didn't have enough. And you didn't even have a lead to blow. Well, I'm not going to count that first quarter. They were up 7-8 points, even though it felt like the game was over when they blew that. But essentially, to me, you ended up in this situation. I would have been incredibly surprised if they were able to overcome it, but they weren't. And going into it, after they beat the Warriors, look, you know what I honestly thought was going to happen? And I'm just being completely honest with you. I thought the Kings were going to get the 8th seed, okay? I thought they were going to lose in Club Phoenix. I thought the Pelicans were going to be the 6th seed. I thought they were going to lose in Club Phoenix, and then I thought they would probably lose to the Warriors. That's what I thought was going to happen. It didn't happen that way, but I did not really think that the Kings were going to make it out of the play-in. When they beat the Warriors, and I don't think I was alone in that, when they beat the Warriors and the way they beat the Warriors, whoa, okay. And then the season ended the same way the season went really throughout the duration of the seasion.
Yeah, I feel like after they beat the Warriors, the confidence was definitely a lot higher. I think the problem was always going to remain, did they have enough? I think, ultimately they got career games out of Keegan and I wouldn't say career games, but definitely one of the best performances of both of their careers so far out of Keegan and Keon. And it was always going to be tough for them to replicate that. I mean, they all year, I think the point that you're trying to make is the inconsistency has been there all year long. And there's been a lot of times where we have specifically said the Kings just played their best game of the season here. And then literally 24 hours later, they would have the worst game of the season or a performance that's completely different than what they had just had. And I think that was that definitely showed itself in these two playing games, is the fact that this team is good enough to beat anybody on their best day, but at the same time, they're bad enough to look terrible and not score 100 points and not have really anybody except for De'Aaron Fox and I guess you could say Sabonis a little bit contributing on the offensive end. I never really had any gauge of how this thing was going to go. I thought once the Kings were put in a 2-game elimination or had to win 2 games to avoid elimination, I always kind of thought that was going to be a tough task. After they beat the Warriors, they definitely had more confidence, but I still always thought it was a bit of a long shot. And, I think the 0-5 made me feel good that they were due, but realistically looking at that matchup, it didn't matter that Zion was going to be out. We all knew it didn't matter. The Kings had lost the 30 to that team beforehand, and I think ultimately it showed, even though they didn't have Zion, the Pelicans were a better team. Like, they have way more talent than the Kings do, especially with Malik and all those guys out. But when you can replace Zion with Trey Murphy, who averages 16 a game when he is starting, and you got Valanciunas, you just have so many other options to go to. It was clear that the Kings literally had De'Aaron and maybe Domas at this point, and especially after Keegan got hurt, and they just had it felt like they had infinite weapons to go to. It felt like Larry Nance could do no wrong. Najee Marshall comes in and has the game of his life. Of course, CJ does. If I would have told you at the beginning of that game, CJ McCollum had 7 points, played 36 minutes. Do you think the Kings won? I think everybody would have said yes, but that's how much talent the Pelicans have. And I think ultimately that's the thing that we need to address moving forward with this team is, did they maybe hit the accelerator too quick? Because you look at all of these teams, and a lot of teams just have more than just their 2 guys. Everybody's got some sort of fail-safe, and it felt like once Malik left, this team had nowhere else to go.
No. Off the top of your head, Chris, because the one that we have a piece coming out that all the hosts are a part of about favorite memories throughout the season, but the one that stuck out to me was because I'm thinking about the Pelicans last night and how the Thunder just tried to put them away and the Pelicans would not go away. And the Pelicans, they had been like that really against every team besides the Lakers. And I'm trying to think, besides that game, because my answer to that question, spoiler alert, go out and read the piece when it comes out tomorrow. My answer to that question was when the Kings came back against, it was down 20 or something like that, in-season tournament to get in against who? The team they're most comfortable against, besides the Lakers, the Warriors. And that was my favorite. That was my favorite, one of my favorite memories from the season. It was just electric in there. But besides that, how many games off the top of your head do you recall the Kings coming back from being down? Off the top of my head, it feels like they either led essentially wire to wire, or it was a close game and then they ended up winning. Those were the 2 ways that they won. There were not this team, and maybe this was Draymond talking about, the pattern team / game manager thing. This team was not ever built to come back from behind, and that's not a team that's going to excel in winner take all situations. And you got down against the Pelicans, and I don't think anybody, even the person wearing the most purplest of glasses, felt comfortable because you hadn't really seen that throughout the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely hurts when you don't have Malik. I mean, I think their bench points is definitely something that you look at, especially in this matchup. That's how you come back when you are down and those stars sit. Exactly. Normally they would have that level of punch that you're talking about, but when you don't have Malik and you don't have Kevin, now you're your third shooting guard has now been elevated to your starting shooting guard, and that means your fourth shooting guard is now your backup shooting. Like it just moves everybody up. And again, you see it in the results of those bench points. That's really where New Orleans won this game. I mean, you could argue free throws, which is a story that we've been talking about all season long. The Kings missed 7 free throws. They lose by 7 points. Sometimes it's not really that easy, but you could definitely make the argument that the Kings make their free throws, and this game maybe is a little bit different. But absolutely, you look at the bench points, the Kings got nothing with the exception of Davion Mitchell. They were outscored 12-34 in bench points, and that's where you really see them missing Malik Monk. Even if, Malik maybe had to get elevated into the starter, the fact that they just didn't have any reserves that could provide that pop, that okay, De'Aaron can keep us afloat, but we need something to set us over the top. That just didn't exist in this game, and I think that's really where you feel the effects of Malik not being there.
Yeah, and you have a team in New Orleans who did a good job of, and Warrior fans were joking, just getting Keegan Murray off his spot. For some odd reason, the Warriors just felt like leaving Keegan Murray open. I still think Keegan got some open looks early against the Pelicans. He just didn't knock them down, and there was not going to be time to get lathered and to get into a rhythm. The Pelicans just weren't going to let you do that. And that's why, Chris, as crazy as it sounds, once they started out cold, really the first half of that first quarter, and once the first quarter being over, it just felt like if they don't heat up quickly here, there's no other way for them to win. With that being said, and as we get into it quickly here, with that being said, the Kings did lose in a different way with Larry Nance Jr. looking like prime Shaq. We'll discuss that when we return. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Can Mike Brown build on last season's Coach of the Year award? Can the Kings exceed 48 wins?
We will be better prepared to make the run that we expect to run come next playoff.
Tune into every Kings game this season on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
The Angie's List you know and trust is now Angie, and we're so much more than just a list. We still connect you with top local pros and show you ratings and reviews, but now we also let you compare upfront prices on hundreds of projects and book a service instantly. We can even handle the rest of your project from start to finish. So remember, Angie's List is now Angie, and we're here to get your job done right. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Kyle Ledbetter behind the glass for us today, giving Kyle a shout out. Always good to hear from Kyle and have Kyle work on the show. From the 5-3-0, this is towards, I believe, my statement about not feeling good when the Kings were down. I disagree. I felt during the season that we were likely to win with a deficit of 20 at half and likely to lose if we were leading by 20 at half. Felt like opposite world, and I watched every single game start to finish. Yeah, 5-3-0, just name the comebacks, right? You might have felt more confident if they were down, but that's just due to, I think, not feeling confident when they were up. Ultimately, I don't know how confident we felt either way, to be completely honest with you, but off the top of my head, I don't remember, okay, they're down 20, but just one good quarter here, and I'm sure I'm underselling it. There were 82 games. I'm sure they came back.
I think there was
from
a Nuggets
down
one somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure they came back from down 20 a handful of times.
There was that one game against the Lakers where they were down like 18.
That's
and were
true.
up 20
That was
at
later
halftime.
in the season. That was later in the season. There's that one. There's the Warriors one that I talked
There was
about.
a Timberwolves game where Malik went crazy and it went to overtime, I think. They came back from double digits in that game.
There you
But
go. There you go.
It's like 4 or 5, I think.
Yeah. Ultimately, you ask 10 people, you're going to get 10 different thoughts. I'm sure they did come back from a couple, but maybe it's just because it was the Pelicans. And they were never down that far. It was Chris, really, to me, that game was, besides the threes, they did it in a different way with Larry Nance Jr., but scoring-wise, it was the same as the last game we saw against the Pelicans, where there wasn't a blowout. They were within 5 to 9 points. Maybe every now and then they'd get within 3, and then they'd trick off a possession. They would miss a big 3. They would turn the ball over, and they could not get over the hump. And then ultimately, the Pelicans ran away with it. They ran away with it more last game than they did in the 5th game against the Kings.
Yeah.
But it felt like that.
I feel like it was completely different. Like, this one was a low scoring game. Like in the last game they played, the Pelicans could not miss a shot. And this one,
But the Kings also shot better.
the Kings definitely shot better in the last, and that's I just feel like in this game the Kings shot better.
It felt like they shot better in the 5th game.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I felt like this game was just a struggle for the Kings offensively. Like, I think defensively, they did enough to win. And funny enough, I feel like we said that at the end of the last Pelicans game, even though the Pelicans scored a crazy more amount, is that the Kings played good defense. It's just the Pelicans were nonstop making shots. This game, the Kings played really, really good defense. The Pelicans actually missed a ton of shots as well. Again, like CJ finishes with 7 points on 8 shots. Jose Alvarado only hit 1 3. Jonas Valanciunas definitely did work, but he only shot 50% from the field. Brandon Ingram shot 50%. Like they missed their shots. It's just nobody on the Kings side could hit anything. I mean, De'Aaron, especially in that second half, I think De'Aaron started to kind of feel like, I don't think anybody has it going today. And Keegan, with his pulled groin, like, I don't know how much you can really rely on him offensively. He was 1 of 10 from 3 in that second half. He finished 4 of 16 from the game. Like, it was just, to me, a struggle offensively. They shot 40% as a team from the field. I just felt like the shots let them down. The fact that they could not make threes just ultimately killed them, which is crazy because this team is meant to win on the offensive end. And the fact that they provided enough defense in my mind to win, it's weird. It's in a weird way, it is how the season would go. We saw that this team looked completely different when they couldn't hit shots, but the difference was usually when they couldn't make shots, the defense slipped. This time the defense didn't slip. They just never, ever, ever started to make their shots.
But to me, Chris, and look, we know it was De'Aaron, Sabonis, and hopefully you get something from Keegan. Keegan ends up getting injured. We understand that. But to me, and I posted about this during the game, I'm not saying that you're saying it's just a random cold night. I'm not saying you're saying that. But to me, I just think it's everything that we are saying. We know it is well documented that role players play better at home.
Sure.
Keon, Davion, Trey Lyles, they were all juiced up while at home taking on the Warriors. And the question was, we had seen them. The thing that I was hoping for, I was just hoping for an OKC or Knicks type start. And now that you have that cushion, when the Pelicans make their run, you've learned from, similar to what happened with the Warriors, right? Sure. They just didn't get hot ever. And Keon Ellis, I think he had 1 shot at halftime.
He had none, I believe.
He couldn't get loose, or he couldn't get it going. And Davion Mitchell actually played pretty poorly in the first half. Yeah. I know it's probably unfair because it's just the first quarter, but he comes in, he takes a heat check 3. I understand he's trying to, hey, I'm just going to power through and show that I'm not scared. Takes a heat check 3. He turns the ball over. He gets cooked by Alvarado for an and 1. That was terrible.
Yeah, you can't have that.
And to me, it's not about, they just happen to miss shots. I think ultimately they're role players, right? Maybe you get hot. You got hot at home, but you travel to New Orleans, even though it's not the most hostile environment. And the lights were just too bright for everybody besides the duo. That's it to me.
So when you say the lights too bright, you mean they they wilted under pressure.
I think palms got sweaty. I don't think they just happened to go cold in New Orleans. I think that it was a lot of pressure.
But they just played with a lot of pressure against the Warriors.
I think it's different at home.
It could be. I mean, I think ultimately, I mean, and the thing is, we have seen them miss a ton of shots multiple times this season. This was not a new occurrence.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that it's weirdly in this team. Like, I just think the inconsistencies from beyond the three have been there all season long. Right. I don't know really what it's about because, again, this team is supposed to be a good three-point shooting team. Keon Ellis has been a 40% three-point shooter all year long. To go 0 of 4 from three, I don't know if that's lights being too bright or just not the ball not finding his way, or maybe it's New Orleans saying Keegan and Keon were the two reasons why they beat Golden State.
Right.
We can't have that. We'll let De'Aaron Fox score 35. We'll let Sabonis do his thing, but if Keegan doesn't get 20, they probably don't win. If Keon doesn't reach double figures, they're probably not going to win. So how much of it, too, was New Orleans game planning and saying, we'll let anybody else cook, but we're not going to let those guys go off, which is, on the New Orleans side, like, you do have to give them credit for their part in this as well. The Kings definitely played their part, no doubt about it. I mean, I think even in the first half when Keegan didn't have a pulled groin, I don't know exactly. I know he had that weird fall where he turned it over and couldn't really get up. I assume that's when that happened.
It was, yeah.
But even then, first half, Keegan was 1 of 8, 1 of 6 from the field. I don't know what they're supposed to do with that. Like, Keegan had just had a 32-point game, and I know he got hurt, but 1 of 8, 1 of 6, they can't have that. They couldn't afford it with Malik being out and with Kevin being out. So, I just don't know where I fall on the shots just not falling, which is something we've seen all year, versus the pressure was too much and they couldn't get it done because of that.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we'll never know. Yeah. Well, all we know is that the ball did not go in the hoop, and they are at home now. And looking at that bench, Chris, I mean, it was apparent. You're running off. You're running out Sasha Vezenkov and
that was desperation.
Trey Lyles, to me, I don't know. I don't know where he went these last couple games. You would have everything that you didn't get one thing that you needed. You didn't get one thing besides the built-in Sabonis and De'Aaron.
Yep.
If you get one of these things and play good defense, you'll have a shot. And they got none of them. They got nothing from Keegan. They got nothing from Keon. They got nothing from Davion. They got nothing from Trey Lyles. They got nothing from anyone.
Yeah.
Anyone. When we return, continue with the conversation, opening up the phone lines. 916-339-1140 if you want to be a part of the conversation. And we may have the live presser, De'Aaron Fox Sabonis. If we don't have it live, we will have it at some point during the show. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sactown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco! It's all on his shoulders. Fox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Folsom Lake Kia.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. It is Monday, back to a new work week. Looking at a comfortable start to the day. It's pretty mild outside. Into the afternoon, it's going to be plenty warm with plenty of sunshine and highs today, mid to upper 80s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
Spring savings continue at Folsom Lake Kia. Low payments, special offers, zero down deals on approval of credit. Shop your trusted Kia dealership for over 25 years and tell them DC sent you. FolsomLakeKia.com.
Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Valvoline Advanced can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life oil filter for only $35.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed, you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
So here's a fact. 85% of the population will suffer from foot pain in their lifetime. That's almost everyone. So you'd think there'd be plenty of healthy long-term remedies, but there just aren't, right? Hi, I'm Dan from the Good Feet store. You know, people come in all the time sharing the same frustrating story. Bought this, tried that, been there, done whatever, all different kinds of things, but all with a similar result. Nothing. A discouraging and endless cycle of disappointment. If this rings a bell, don't despair. There is hope. If you think you've tried everything, you probably haven't tried Good Feet arch supports from the Good Feet store. They're designed to relieve, even eliminate, the pain commonly caused by certain foot conditions like plantar fasciitis, bunions, flat feet, and others. Plus, provide better balance and increased comfort. See what we can do for you with a free arch support fitting. Just stop in or schedule an appointment. With over 200 stores, there's likely one in your neck of the woods. Find yours at goodfeet.com.
Everybody needs Good Feet.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is. Live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sactown Sports 1140.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you target the right audience, build your leads, and crush your quota. Take your business to the next level. Our digital marketing strategies help grow awareness of your product or service, all while building trust in your business. Our approach involves leveraging multiple tools and strategies to deliver exceptional results that are customized to your unique business needs. Don't wait to run out of sales leads. Keep your business growing. Get started with aimyourdigital.com today.
Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
Shout out to the call line, text line, and the Sac chat. Amid rock on the Sac chat. I already forgot about the game. Yeah, Chris and I were talking. It literally feels like the last show we did was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That was a long weekend.
It was a very long weekend.
That was a long,
much needed
weekend.
Very long.
916-339-1140. All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. 925 from the text line says, on the road, elimination game against an opponent you couldn't beat all year. They definitely got tight. That's I think multiple things can be true. They played well. The Pelicans did. They got length. They're all over you, man. It was a great game. That was the best game of the weekend, Chris.
Oh, yeah.
Thunder Pelicans. And, yeah, you're only going to get a couple open shots, and if you don't hit them and get your confidence high, I think the only way, and I was telling Chris this during the break, the only way the Kings were going to win that game was to get off to a hot start like they did, or maybe I already said this on the air, a hot start like they did in New York or in OKC towards the end of the season, but holding on to that lead, and that's what you have to do as the away team. You either got to hang around or you got to hit them in the mouth early, and they did neither. Let's hear from Raj. Wants to be a part of the conversation. What's up, Raj? What you got for us?
Hey guys, couldn't agree with you guys more with everything you're saying, and my thought is a couple things, like when their best player on their team had a fourth foul already, I just didn't understand why Kings, always relies merely on three-point shooting. I don't know if that's a coaching situation or players recognizing that. These are professionals. I would imagine they do. You put Brandon on Ingram on a fifth foul by just attacking him. Let's be honest. You attack him a couple of times. You're not going to maybe get every call, but you're probably going to get one. He gets that fifth. It changes the whole game. It changes the entire game. I mean, to me, it's like 101. So I don't know where the Philly were. I love Coach Brown. I think he's a hell of a coach. My only challenge that I'm running into right now, I feel like as a huge Kings fan, is of course, all our other players besides the two primaries look like they didn't know what to do. Like shots are not falling, so I guess we're done. It's like, no, dude, this is your last game, possibly. Have the fight in you. Show us the effort. Attack that paint. I get it. You're afraid of the big guy. You may get hurt. But guess what? You lose this game, where are you going to go anyway? Rest up, right? I mean, I really thought, like, this season could have been as downer. It could have been like, hey, from 3rd seed, we dropped to 9th. We beat the Pelicans. To be super honest, I feel like we'd have every shot to even knock out OKC. Talk about a fairy tale story we could have had this season, a positive. And after that, whatever happens, happens. But it's like, when our threes are not dropping, or is the coaching staff and the players not recognizing, you're going to have to take it in, A, and B, play much harder defense. As a fan, I just want to see effort.
Yeah.
And then not having that is just concerning. And that's going to change for next season.
Yeah, thanks for
I want to hear your guys' thoughts.
Thanks for the call, Raj. I'm looking here, Chris, and, we have this conversation every time the Kings go cold. They shot 26% from 3, 11 for 41. We have this conversation every time it happens. So I'm looking here at the box score because what we've said is this a coaching thing, or is this an ingredients thing, or what is in the fridge thing as far as the players that you have on your roster? So Sabonis, he has 23 points. He did his job. Harrison Barnes, you get 17 points out of him, and he really did steady the ship. So that's 17 points out of a Harrison Barnes. And then I'm going to skip over Keegan Murray and skip over Keon Ellis and go to De'Aaron Fox, who had 35 points. And was it the most efficient 35? No. But, I mean, it is what it is. You got to take over, and that's what De'Aaron Fox was trying to do. When we have these conversations about, okay, let's stop shooting threes, and who are we talking about? Harrison Barnes is the only one outside of De'Aaron Fox on this roster that has the ability to do that. And I think Harrison Barnes did do that. 17 points. Yeah, anybody would love to have 30 points from their third or fourth option, but that's not the case. So besides Sabonis, Harrison Barnes, and De'Aaron Fox, Keegan Murray isn't there yet. Okay. And Keegan Murray, he doesn't normally get to the cup. De'Aaron Fox joked with him last year about being the worst finisher in the league, okay? And he's improved, but that's not really his game yet. Keon Ellis, that's not his game yet. Keon is not going to get to the cup. Now I'm looking at the bench. Davion Mitchell, yeah, he's gotten to the cup a couple of times. He's a smaller guard. He can finish. But I guess my point is, it's not that I'm disagreeing with you, Raj. I just don't know, outside of the guys that we talked about who were doing that, I don't really know who else you could depend on this roster. It was just a cooked roster.
Yeah.
It was just cooked because the person you're talking about, Raj, is Malik Monk, who's on the bench.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, I think first off, I definitely did think the same thing of, Brandon Ingram, not only Brandon fouls, Jonas Valanciunas had 4 fouls, Larry Nance Jr. had 4 fouls. I didn't understand why they didn't do exactly what Raj said in terms of attacking those guys, because, that's how you change the game. Literally, if Brandon Ingram has 5 fouls, he's going to play completely different, not only defensively, but offensively as well. But then to your point that you just made, who is going to do it? Harrison Barnes, 0 free throw attempts in the second half. Keegan Murray obviously pulled groin. He wasn't going to be as aggressive attacking. 0 free throw attempts. Those 2 guys have to be more aggressive. Mm-hmm. You mentioned it. Keon Ellis. None of these guys are shot creators. They do not create shots for themselves or for others. And to me, that's where this team, even if they bring Malik Monk back, to me, their number one priority this offseason has to be get another creator in this rotation. They cannot afford to have it be De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk create everything while everybody else stands in the corner and isn't able to create their own shot, with the exception of Keegan's little step back that he's working on, or HB's slow Euro step. They have to have a guy who can frankly take an isolation, cross over a dude, and hit a jumper, or get to the rim, or hit a 3. Like they have to have another guy who can just get buckets, and they don't have that guy. And so when they don't, it's all on De'Aaron Fox to have the ball in his hands. And you see De'Aaron just chucking it up in that second half. It's because nobody else was being aggressive. There were a couple different possessions. There was one that I'm thinking of that had Keegan, and again, you have to give him a little bit of grace because he pulled his groin. But there was one where Trey Lyles had Jose Alvarado on him in the corner,
dude,
and he passed out of it.
That was crazy.
And that's inexcusable. You cannot have that. If you have a dude who's 5'10", 5'11", he's 6 feet, whatever. We'll give him the grace of being 6 feet tall. Trey Lyles is 6'9". He's a shooter at the very least. You can shoot over him from that corner three, shortest shot in the NBA or shortest three in the NBA, or post his ass up.
But then he got in there and then kicked it and then tried to shovel it to Keegan. And was it a turnover or a missed shot?
I think it was a turnover.
It was brutal.
Like, bro, that's an ISO. That is it. And that's where it's like, whatever. Maybe you can say Mike Brown has to shout out from the sideline, ISO, or Mickey, as they like to. There is the worst defender. We like this matchup. I don't think Mike Brown should have to tell Trey Lyles, hey, there's a tiny dude on you. Do something about it.
But that's what I talked about, and I picked Trey Lyles as my dog on Friday.
I know, yeah.
And then when I saw that, I said, "Roof, that's a mouse, not a dog." I wanted to take it back, but Chris, that's what I was telling you about. When you go into he wasn't even that ferocious. When you go into the playoffs, you need multiple guys that are versatile.
Yes.
And Trey Lyles, to me, I joked with you. I said, how many 2-point field goals has Trey Lyles even taken?
Right.
He is a 3-point shooter.
Right.
If you don't have a deep enough post bag to make a move on Jose Alvarado, and at the very least make him foul you, you shouldn't beat the Pelicans. No. If that's the second guy off the bench for you, or the first guy off the bench for you, as far as the big dudes, you're not going to win that game. And with that mentality, no, they weren't going to beat OKC. They just weren't going to. 916-339-1140. Let's get to Ron. Wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Ron? What you got for us?
Hey, what's up? I got two things, and I'll be quick. If they let Malik Monk go, because he's that third guy you're looking for, he doesn't care if you're 6'10" or 7'9". He's going at you. He'll make the bucket. He'll do the blocking. He'll be good defense. And the second thing is, God help me for saying it, if these guys can't hit free throws, they don't belong in the NBA. And they lose more games by 2 or 3 or 5 points than the other team in the league. Free throws.
Yeah.
And that's all.
Thanks for the call, Ron. And that also goes to your point, Chris. We said De'Aaron had 35 and Sabonis had 23. And Sabonis 5 for 5 from free throw, right? So Sabonis has been we should do post All-Star Sabonis free throw. I'm sure it was very close to the 80s. Sabonis was very good from free throw after the All-Star. But De'Aaron, he's 7 for 11. He missed a couple consecutively.
Yes, him and HB missed 2 free throw trips
back to back. And I'm wondering, okay, cool. Yeah, De'Aaron had 35. We get it. Wasn't the most efficient 35. We get it. Other players, you weren't getting anything from him. But to that point, when you see Ingram with 4, when you see Valanciunas with 4, is that on De'Aaron instead of chucking him up? We're not saying to not shoot because we understand that you got the juice and nobody else does. That's right. But maybe it's getting to the free throw line. Yeah. And I hate to do it, Chris. I'm sitting there and I hate to do this, but I'm sitting there and I'm watching Shai Gilgeous last night. And I'm thinking, we saw it. I don't even have to do that game.
No,
we saw, and I know he traveled, and Mike Brown's probably still talking about it somewhere. He might bring it up in the end of the season press conference today. But you have a guy who is not afraid to get to the line when it matters most. Yep. And I'm not calling De'Aaron Fox scared, but I'm saying he would probably prefer to not go to the line, which then results in him being Chuck Master Flex and the ball not going in the basket. That's just what it is. All right.
Absolutely.
Continuing the conversation, 916-339-1140. If you want to be a part of the conversation, text line, Folsom Lake Honda hotline. All guests and callers join us on Folsom Lake Honda Shop. Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports.
What's the missing piece for the 49ers?
Which names will they add during free agency, whether it's in season or
put their best foot forward, to make this franchise better. And I think when you have that, that's what makes the team better. It can't just necessarily be,
organization. For Mike specifically, what has he kind of meant to you at this point in your career, and why do you feel like he's been such a good fit here for this team?
Yeah, I mean, Mike's done a great job of, I think, instilling a culture of discipline and just accountability to everything that we do.
And how it's really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the network made for streaming. Well, as the A's continue this final season in Oakland, I think it's important to remember that the Coliseum has been home to some of the greatest names in the game. August 17th, before the A's play the Giants, the A's will honor Jose Canseco, Terry Steinbach, Miguel Tejada, Bill King, Dick Williams, and Eddie Juice from the Philly days as the latest members of the A's Hall of Fame.
Want more speed? Well, Xfinity just increased their internet speeds, and they're faster than ever. It's time to get more out of your internet with faster speeds from Xfinity. Now through June 21st, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for only $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. That's double the speed for the same great price. Click, call, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with store bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and other charges extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Access speeds vary.
At Ashton & Price, we get injury victims to yes. Experience, yes. Ashton & Price has been around for 25 years. No more insurance companies? Yes. Our clients focus on getting better, and we handle all the rest. Results? Yes. We've collected over $100 million for injury victims. No fee until we win? Yes. Our clients pay nothing until we win. Ashton & Price, the best at getting to yes. Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
If you're looking for $500,000 to $1 million or more of affordable term life insurance, we're Term Provider, experts in finding affordable term life insurance for those that may not be in perfect health. Prostate cancer, heart conditions, high cholesterol, or on prescription medications, you may still qualify for $500,000 to $1 million or more of affordable term life insurance. Call Term Provider at 800-337-4168. 800-337-4168.
Lowe's knows pros need the right tools for every job. That's why we sell the largest in-store selection of Klein tools anywhere. Find new items launching exclusively at Lowe's, like the self-leveling laser level for just $159.98. Plus, shop the Connect socket set for just $49.98. Tools. Lowe's knows pros.
Country in the Park is back May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Jay Cohen, Walker Hayes, and more. Tickets start at just $46. Country in the Park, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPFest.com.
Brought to you by Tub Shed, New Dawn Treatment Centers, and Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers.
At Fasteners Inc., we believe adding quality power tools to your lineup shouldn't break the bank. That's why we're hosting the biggest Milwaukee tool sale of the year in Sacramento. On top of insane deals on Milwaukee power tools, all Milwaukee pack-out storage boxes, hand tools, and tool accessories will be 25% off. So come on down on April 27th to the Milwaukee Tool Sanity Sale at Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet on Power Inn Road in Sacramento. For more info, visit fastenersinc.net.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find: happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, you're one step.
Midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Okay, have confirmation that we will be able to give you the Sacramento Kings end of season presser. De'Aaron Fox will be up in a moment. He is walking up right now, and when he starts talking, we will throw to that. from the 916 this year was a colossal failure. Let's be real, to go from arguably the most exciting feel-good season to this team now really nope like that 916. We still got hope here. All right, let's go to the presser here from teams
sort of into this offseason.
I mean, I think obviously it's a disappointing inning. I mean, you want to continue to play for more. I mean, I don't think we were bad this year, but obviously the West got tougher, and I don't think we stepped up.
Trying to get the
look at countless games.
Audio
we had the lead, or games we should have won, and you look back at that, and it definitely bit us in the back. Coming towards the end of the season.
Darren, for you, how much is just your confidence in the direction and kind of the construction of this group shaken by having a step back this year?
I mean, I think we set ourselves. We were in positions to have a better record. 46 wins is not bad, but at the end of the day, you see where this conference is going. You look back at games that we should have won, and you're looking like, oh, we could have had 51 wins or 52 wins, and you're sitting in a different spot. But at the end of the day, we didn't. We know that we could have been a better team this year, and we let some games slip away. But I mean, we're looking at 46 wins, and you're like, oh, it's a bad season. And if we do consider that a bad season, then we know that we have to be much better. But as a team, we know that we have to be better. We have to build differently, and I mean, that's not for me to do. That's for the front office. But for me, I come in. You put in the work, and you go out there with the guys that you have. You go out and you battle. And I'm glad that we were able to do it with this group. I mean, 2 wins from last year put you from the 3rd seed to the 9th seed. So this conference isn't getting any easier. And we have to continue to build towards the future. And I don't think as a team that we were a bad team. I think that we had chances, and we just didn't seize those chances.
Hey, Fox, you led the league in steals this year, also a high volume of 3-point shooting with consistency. Those were probably the 2 biggest areas of growth throughout your career. So what's the next step, you think, in your evolution into that star potential?
It speaks how important Malik Monk is, but it also speaks to how broken this roster is. Because to your point before the break, you can't just have 2 guys and if one dude goes down, you're cooked this.
Right.
Pelicans are winning they won without Brandon Ingram, and they won without Zion. And both of those guys in a vacuum are better than Malik Monk, right? So if you're not more important, but I think that's part of the problem.
Right.
He's too important.
Right.
Too important.
Absolutely. No, I think that's the perfect way of saying it. Like, I mean, I think the fact that, could you imagine if the Kings didn't have Sabonis during this stretch or didn't have Deer, like it would be over. And, in today's, like maybe that's good enough for 5-10 years ago, as crazy as it is, but with how the league is currently situated, and we saw last year a lot of people saying the Kings got lucky that the West was as unhealthy as it was, but there's a bit of truth to that because you see how just talent filled this conference is. I mean, the OKC, well, yeah, offensively it's a lot of SGA and Jalen Williams. They still got Chet. They got Lou Dort. They got other Jalen Williams. They got Josh. They have a ton of other pieces that you can get excited about that can step up if their main guys don't have it. There's, of course, the Clippers. We can go on and on of the list of teams that have tons of talent. I talk about guys like Norm Powell all the time on a team like the Clippers. Who is the Kings version of Norm Powell besides Malik Monk? I mean, and to your point, like, does that mean that there's just way too much importance on 1 or 3 guys to do just about everything? If we need De'Aaron and Malik to create everything, we need Sabonis get all the rebounds and get all the assists and still have a physical presence in the paint and rim protect. Like, okay, like that's a lot for 3 guys. And then when one of them goes down, you see what happens is you can't just replace a guy like Malik Monk. You definitely can't replace a guy like Domantas Sabonis. They can maybe replace Keegan or HB for a short period of time, but I just think that they rely too much on the guys that are getting time and they don't have enough of a war chest of talent.
It's
really
bad.
Yeah.
I mean, if you honestly think about it, the rotation pieces are bad.
Yeah.
They're not good. And Bill Simmons was right when he said that the Kings without Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter have the worst 3 through 9 out of the top 10 Western Conference teams. Chris, the Clippers just won with no Kawhi.
None.
And they beat a
They
team.
killed them.
They beat a team that the Kings could not beat back to back. That's when they lost. That's when they lost Malik Monk, but they lost him in the second game.
Yes.
Not the first.
Yeah.
And they beat the brakes off the
Malik had
Mavericks.
0, I believe, in that game.
Yeah, they beat
where he played the full game.
Right. They beat the brakes off the Mavericks. And I'm looking here, they have so many pieces, the Clippers do, little prop talk action.
Yeah.
Norman Powell didn't even have to do anything because they also have a Terrence Mann.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's ridiculous, the amount of talent that these teams have. And then, you look at the Kings stretching for, are we going to see Chris Duarte? Are we going to see Kessler Edwards? And I know those guys didn't end up playing.
Wouldn't see the light of day on any of the top 8 teams.
Wouldn't even be considered 100%. And, I think it was a bit of searching for Mike to go to Sasha. I think that's how down bad they were in that Pelicans game, that he was like, you know what? We're not nobody. Nobody is making anything. Keegan goes down. I know we haven't gone to him a lot, but we just need somebody who I think can hit shots. And Sasha comes in and ultimately doesn't make much of an impact, kind of gets killed on the defensive end. But to me, that's a sign that this team just didn't have enough. They at some point, and you could say, you get 2 of your really big contributors hurt. Anybody's going to look like that. But to me, the fall off was just so dramatic that they were barely keeping their heads above water. And it felt like in every single one of these games down the stretch, at some point, something eventually drowned them. They were able to stick with it, fight, stay competitive. But when it came to what's going to be the thing that sets this team over the hump in this game to get the win, they just never had it. Or I should say, they very, very rarely found it. And unless it was a Golden State game where they just kind of were incredibly hot from 3, it just usually didn't look pretty without Malik Monk, or especially without Kevin Huerter out there as well.
No, and I was really surprised that Coach Mike Brown didn't go to Kessler Edwards, just because he was a guy, he can do some things defensively. He's made threes randomly when the Kings have needed shots.
Yep.
So I was really surprised there was no Kessler Edwards in that game where Keegan clearly wasn't himself. They were going to give him open shots. So I was incredibly surprised. Would it have made a difference? I have no clue, and we won't know. Kessler Edwards came in against the Wizards and balled out, and it didn't make a difference. So I think that he was searching, but at that point, it's just hard for me. And I know we had a caller earlier. If we could have just got to the Thunder, you never know. Sure, you never know. And I know that the Kings got that big lead against the Thunder. Let's also remember that the Thunder didn't play that well in that game. They came back from that deficit and they ultimately won.
Yeah.
So I just made it would have been I would rather have the conversation, man, I wish the Kings would have showed up to get back to the playoffs and to enjoy a playoff run, and you never know what could have happened, than forming it as if the Kings actually had a shot. I mean, honestly, if you look at who the Thunder are bringing off the bench compared to the Kings, everybody is doing this against the Thunder because they're inexperienced and things like that. But ultimately, you can't be as hot and cold as the Kings were and expect to beat a team like that. And I said something to you, Chris, last week about, okay, where would you put hostile environments? OKC was rocking.
Tried to tell you.
OKC was rocking.
Yeah.
All right. So if you were good enough, you would have
whiteout.
taken care of business, because New Orleans, I know Dave said it was loud in there, but it would have been nothing, I don't think, compared to OKC or anywhere else, really. That was the best option for you to get through to the playoffs, and you weren't able to get it done. Got more when we return. Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry.
sort of natural progression of you guys as a squad. Where do you think you guys finish this year? How disappointed are you guys by sort of the end?
Designed for pain relief, better balance, and more comfort. See what we can do for you with a free fitting. Just stop in or schedule an appointment. With over 200 stores, there's likely one near you. Find yours at goodfeet.com.
Everybody needs good feet.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is. Live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sactown Sports 1140.
Welcome to the April Adventure Sales Event at Kia Vacaville. Are you ready for an extraordinary experience? We're excited to introduce you to the pinnacle of automotive excellence, the Kia Telluride. During April Adventure, come and explore the remarkable features of the Kia Telluride. It's not just a vehicle, it's a lifestyle with this seamless blend of sophistication and practicality. The Telluride is ready to elevate your driving experience to new heights. Whether you're embarking on a family road trip or navigating the urban jungle, the Kia Telluride offers unparalleled comfort and innovation. Plus, with Kia's commitment to safety and reliability, you can drive with confidence wherever the road takes you. Don't miss this opportunity to experience the extraordinary Kia Telluride for yourself. Visit Kia at Vacaville today and take advantage of exclusive offers during the April Adventure Sales Event. Your adventure begins here. Kia Vacaville, where innovation meets excellence. Model availability, lease options, and features may vary. Please visit Kia Vacaville for more details.
Guys, your testosterone level impacts your energy, drive, weight, hair loss, and even ED. Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your T level for free. For your free T level check, exam, and consultation, call 916-277-8599 or visit revivemenshealth.com.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your new home for 49ers football in the 916.
Sactown Sports.
Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
Okay, as promised, we have straightened everything out, and we have De'Aaron Fox for you. We will play De'Aaron Fox. We will react to it, get your thoughts on it, and then we will play Sabonis and do the same thing. Here is De'Aaron Fox exit interview.
Obviously, we can look at, countless games of, we had the lead or games we should have won. And you look back at that, and it definitely bit us in the back, coming towards the end of the season.
De'Aaron, for you, how much is just your confidence in the direction and kind of the construction of this group shaken by having a step back this year?
I mean, I think we put ourselves, we were in positions to, have a better record. 46 wins is not bad, but at the end of the day, you see where this conference is going. You look back at games that we should have won, and you're looking like, oh, we could have had 51 wins or 52. If we do consider that a bad season, then we know that we have to be much better. But as a team, we know that we have to be better. We have to build differently. And I mean, that's not for me to do, that's for the front office. But for me, I come in, you put in the work and you go out there with the guys that you have, you go out and you battle. And I'm glad that we were able to do it with this group. I mean, 2 wins from last year put you from the 3rd seed to the 9th seed. So this conference isn't getting any easier. We have to continue to build towards the future. And I don't think I don't think as a team that we were a bad team. I think that we had chances and we just didn't seize those chances.
Hey, Fox, you led the league in steals this year, also a high volume of 3-point shooting with consistency. Those were probably the two biggest areas of growth throughout your career. So what's the next step you think in your evolution into that star potential that so many people talk about?
I mean, I think just continue to be more efficient on the court, just from all aspects. Continue to be a better defender. Continue to get stronger, more athletic. I mean, you look at every aspect of the game, and I feel like I can continue to get better as a player. Continue to do whatever my team asks me to win games. I think I wasn't as good late in games this year as I was last year, but like I said, I think we took a step backwards a little bit as a team, and we still have things that we can continue to get better at as a group.
Coach Brown often talks about how much adversity can help a group like this kind of grow going forward. How much do you feel like the adversity and the ups and downs of the season has kind of helped elevate you guys, and what kind of things do you think you're going to build off of it going forward?
I mean, I think that always comes with consistency. I think that's always the word that, that gets used. How can you become consistent? Defensively is usually where it is, because I mean, it's basketball. There are going to be games where you don't make shots. There are going to be games where other team makes shots. So for us, continuing to try to grow as a defensive team usually gives you the best shot to win games. You can be the best offense, but if shots just aren't going in that day, then what can you lean back on? So for us, it has to be continuing to grow as a defensive team. Then, I mean, free throws are one thing you can also control, and we know that we have to be a better free throw shooting team, because there are games that we lost this year that if you don't shoot 65% from the free throw line, you probably win that game. So,
Darren, I'd like to ask you a question about a member of the coaching staff, Jordy Fernandez. And I'm not talking about the situation, prospect, future, anything like that, but him working with this organization, him being part of the coaching staff, him, I believe, who was leading the defense. Can you talk a little bit about working with him these past couple seasons?
Yeah, I mean, I think Jordy was great. It's funny that you said that, because Mikael actually hit me this morning asking me about him. But man, Jordy was great. And I think everybody who's worked with him knew at some point, he'd be a head coach in this league. But he was fantastic for us. I think my first interaction with Jordy, we were in San Diego. I was working out with Luke, and he just sat in a workout, and he was like, and this was before last year. He was like, I don't think you're working hard enough. He's like, I don't think you understand. Like, I've coached against you. I don't think you understand how good you can be. But I don't think that, and this is like, me and Luke have probably been working together for like 2 weeks or so. And he's like, I don't think you're working hard enough. I don't think you're doing what you should be doing to become the player that you want to be. And he kind of stood with me, because I'm like, I felt like I'm going hard, like, but that's one thing that definitely stood out to me just from our first interaction. And Jordy's been great for us, man. Just the attention to detail that he pays, not only during like the playoff series last year, or like the 2 playing games that we had, because they're 1-game series, but day in and day out, just the attention to detail from offense to defense, to how we're getting back, to, some box outs, just everything that he does. I think everybody knew that at some point he's going to be able to lead a group. And obviously you look at it, it's like, it's a sad day, of course, losing someone who did so much for y'all. But I mean, that's the nature of this business. Every coach wants to be a head coach at some point. And I mean, I think he's going to be great for Brooklyn, for the next group of guys that he leads. But I think everybody loved Jordy, being able to be around him every day and just enjoy to be coached by him. But I think he's going to be a hell of a head coach for sure.
De'Aaron, you saw Keegan take a big step this season, especially working out with you this offseason. Do you expect that type of step again from him? And how does he work on maybe being a little bit more aggressive in terms of attacking the basket? I know it was different shots working on and stuff like that this offseason, but how does he go forward with that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a lot different whenever kind of teams are keying in on you a little more. And I think that happened this year, but I feel like he let, shots, him making or missing shots, kind of dictate the way that he played a little bit. And I think going forward, like I say all the time, man, it's basketball. There are going to be times where you don't make shots, but you can't allow that to affect the way that you play. And I think for him going forward, that's going to be one thing that, he tries to key in on. And I told him, like, regardless if you're making or missing shots, we need you to be aggressive. But that just comes with, I think that comes with time being on the court. Obviously, there are some guys in this league that don't give a damn if they make or miss shots. Like, you're going to go into some games knowing that this guy is going to shoot 20 times. He does not care if he makes or misses shots. He's going to shoot the ball 20 times. And we need him to have that type of mentality, because regardless of, at times when you're playing against some people, if they miss their first two or three threes, we're like, oh, we got him. Like, he's not going to shoot the ball. He doesn't even want the ball anymore. And you can't be that type of player, because that does nothing but hurt your team. But obviously you don't want to be the guy that can go over 20, because that could also hurt your team. But Keegan's confidence just continued to grow. Obviously he became more comfortable putting the ball on the floor, but we need him to be even more comfortable putting the ball on the floor. We can't have you out there, dribbling the ball and looking like you don't want to dribble the ball. But he's growing as a player. He didn't handle the ball a lot in college. He was in the post a lot in college. And then his first year in the league, he just spotted up a lot, or he was coming off of pin downs. And obviously those things are hard to do. And we can talk about last game, like, he's wrestling with Niji Marshall the whole time. Like, now you get the ball and now you're a bit tired. So we need him to be a lot more comfortable being able to play out of the pick and roll, or be able to bring the ball up, because being in a wrestling match all game and then you finally get the ball, it's like, I have no legs after doing that. So just being able to be a lot more dynamic. Obviously, we know that he can come off of pin downs. We know that he can spot up. What else can you add to your game? And we definitely need that out of him.
De'Aaron, obviously you took your game to new heights defensively this season, and you've talked a little bit already about an all defensive team. Is that something that's kind of on your radar moving forward in your career?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, a lot of that comes with team defense as well. And it's, like I said, just continue to build as a defensive team, I think helps all individuals in that aspect. And, if it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But for us, I want to be on a team that's solid defensively, night in, night out. You know that you're going to, go through hell playing against a team. So we want to continue to be built defensively. And obviously we talked about after the last game, there doesn't have to be give and take. You look at OKC, you look at Boston, I think Denver, like, all those teams are in the top 10 defensively, and you're talking about those teams winning championships. And that's where we want to have to get to. We don't want to have to sit here like, oh, defensively we're this, but offensively we're not that. And you're not going to win. I think it's like Detroit in like 2004 was like the only team that wasn't top 10 in offense that won a championship in the last whatever many years. But then you look at all the teams that won championships, they're top 10 in offense and near the top half of the league in defense. And I think the only team that wasn't was like one of those three-peat Lakers, but then they turned it up defensively in the playoffs, because the year before that, I think they were like number 1 or 2 in defense. So you knew that they could do it. So we have to be able to be great on both ends of the court if we want to be a championship contending team.
It seems like a lot of times you're talked about as if you kind of just are what you are, but how much do you feel like you have another level that you can reach?
I definitely feel like, 26, I've been in the league for 7 years. I feel like I've gotten better every year. So why do I think that my growth just stunts now? I still have things that I can work towards. I've had stretches where I looked really good. I've had stretches where I wasn't good. So you want to obviously have those stretches be longer for a period of time, but obviously knowing that you're going to have a slump here and there. But I work at my game. I work at my game every day. Regardless if we just come in here and get shots, regardless if we come in here and go live, I work. So I don't feel like I'm done growing as a player.
De'Aaron, obviously you've been here a while now. There's been a lot of turnover in your tenure here, but now the last couple of years, getting a little consistency from the coaching staff, obviously, and an opportunity to kind of build on things rather than every year tear it down and rebuild it. What does that mean to you personally, and what are you looking forward to, like, in this offseason? Obviously, there's some question marks, but just generally being able to build something for the future.
Yeah, obviously, I don't know what happens this summer, but just having that consistency of some guys that you know are going to be here, coaches that you know are going to be here, it gives you that confidence knowing that you're going to take that next step forward and not have to wonder what the foundation is going to look like. And I feel like you can look at Dallas. Like last year, they didn't. Obviously, the year before they made the playoffs. Last year they didn't make the playoffs. This year, they make a trade at the deadline, and they looked like honestly the best team in the league for after the All-Star break. So those are just like little things that you look forward to, and having that consistency as an organization. And I mean, it's fun, obviously, and like we said, this conference isn't going to get any harder, but you don't want it to. I mean, isn't going to get any easier, and you don't want it to. I mean, you want to be able to be a top of a conference like the Western Conference this year, and that gives you confidence going into the playoffs that you have a chance to win a championship. So if we are able to get better, if we're able to fight out and get a spot in this Western Conference, if we're able to get 50 wins like that gives you confidence. And like I said, 46 wins, we look at because we didn't make the playoffs, like, oh, that's not good. We're a couple blemishes away from having 50-win season, so I don't think we're very far off.
Kind of along those lines, like just, you have the expectations that you get coming into the season, and then you kind of almost duplicate the record that you had last year. And kind of along those lines, you learn something about maybe your team. What's maybe the one or two things that might be on your mind most this summer when you think about where your team is at and what could lie ahead for you guys?
I think one, it's like how much better can we get as players who are here? What could happen as far as trades or draft or what may happen. I mean, I look at what we have, and I think what could have been, what could we have done better throughout this season. And obviously there are things, if we make our free throws, we probably have 51 wins. Like it's small that start to add up and start to snowball effect into a season. And now we're looking at it like, damn, we didn't make the playoffs. We weren't that good of a team, which could be true, which could not be true. But what can we do next year to put us in a better spot? And those are, obviously we have to look ourselves in the mirror as players. What could we have done better? And then, obviously the front office, what do we bring in to be a better team to compete in this hard conference? And that's pretty much it. To compete in this hard conference, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, we will react to De'Aaron's presser when we return, and a little bit later in the show, we will play Sabonis and maybe Malik Monk. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Our first year as the radio home of the San Francisco 49ers is one we will never forget.
Going deep down the sideline for RU. He's got it, and he's gone. 10, 5, touchdown! San Francisco! Ayuk is on fire!
Congratulations to the 49ers on a terrific year. And thank you for so many wonderful memories.
Attention taxpayers. If you or your business owe the IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, the IRS has green-lighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Help USA to see if you qualify by dialing 800-918-3538. If you or your business owe at least $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Call Tax Help USA to get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-918-3538. 800-918-3538. That's 800-918-3538.
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
You just heard De'Aaron Fox, and if you are just now joining us, thank you for joining us. De'Aaron Fox just had his presser. We are playing this by ear. We may go to Malik Monk live. We may go to Sabonis. All depends on how the timing happens. Sabonis just ended, but first let's react to some of the things that De'Aaron Fox had to say. Chris, what stuck out to you?
Yeah, there was a couple things that definitely stuck out. I mean, we talked about it last segment when we briefly played De'Aaron's presser, but the 46 wins not being bad, but you see where this conference is going definitely tells you not just about, I mean, the teams that are in front of the Kings right now in terms of the standings, but we can't forget about the Grizzlies who definitely are going to have something to say next year. San Antonio with Wemby, they're definitely going to look to take a step forward. They're probably going to have play-in goals next year, and so that's another team that then enters the top 10. We don't know if the Warriors who falls out is another great question. Like, do the Warriors fall back? Do the Lakers fall back? Are the Kings a potential team that needs to worry about falling back? Or is it the Clippers who might lose Paul George this offseason? We don't know. But the point is, there's like 12 to 13 teams in the West that are fighting for 10 spots. And that's definitely alarming, considering 46 wins wasn't enough to get it done. It makes you think, if this conference is going to get better next year, what's it going to take to get that even a 10 seed is just insane. And definitely his comments about Jordy, for sure. Just the fact that Jordy pushes this team. He's somebody who is, I mean, we know how involved he's been, but to hear, him say, Jordy just on a game-to-game basis is a huge part of their game plan, but specifically pointing out last year's playoffs kind of is interesting just when you think of how much of Mike Brown's brain trust is led by Jordy Fernandez. It's a really, really big spot that they're going to miss, and just in general, it seems like everybody in that organization is aware next year they need to bring it. Him talking about Keegan is probably the biggest thing that he mentioned, was just all of the things about Keegan getting better, where he can develop, how important it is for him to develop if they are going to reach the goals that they plan to reach. And of course he's gonna say that, and he's gonna be a big part of Keegan's development.
He's hard on Keegan.
They spent all summer together last year. I'd be shocked if they don't do it again. So definitely was really interesting here, De'Aaron. Yeah, be really blunt and honest about Keegan's development.
Talking about dribbling, if you don't want to dribble, that's a problem. I mean, he's definitely, it feels like he's taking the big brother approach with Keegan Murray, and that's probably what Keegan Murray needs. Yeah. And some of the things that stuck out to me when De'Aaron Fox talks about the front office making the team better, who do you think he's okay with saying goodbye to? Obviously, we will never know that, but that's the thing. You can't just get better. It's not a sitcom where nothing changes, or a cartoon where you wear the same clothes.
Can't just replace Aunt Viv?
No, well, you're gonna have to replace Aunt Viv. That's exactly what's gonna happen. And De'Aaron, I think deep down in his heart of hearts knows that he's the first one to tell you that this is a business. And we haven't even gotten to what he said about Malik Monk getting his money and Kings fans not really liking what De'Aaron Fox had to say. We still have that to come on this show, and if not today because of the press conference throughout the week, is a long off-season. De'Aaron also said, I still have things I can work towards. I have stretches where I've looked really good. I've had stunts where I haven't, and that's essentially what this year was. I mean, the hot start. I mean, you go to every game like we did, and you hear Mike Brown just slowly but surely stop bringing up De'Aaron Fox as far as the MVP conversation. Right. And I think somebody said it was the first. I don't even think it was to All-Star break. I think it was prior to All-Star break where he started to cool off, and he still had a great season, but there are just levels to being a franchise guy. And I think De'Aaron is a franchise guy at some level. It's just a matter of what level is going to be. And he said, hey, I'm 26. There's no reason to think that I can't continue to improve. He talked about the free throws. Yeah. What did he say, Chris? He said we'd probably have 51
if we made
wins.
Our free throws, we'd probably have 51 wins. And
that's brutal.
The Kings ranked at the end of the season last, 30 out of 30 in terms of free throw percentage. And, I'm sure there is that would be 5 wins that he's saying that they pretty much tricked off.
Not in the play-in.
I'm sure there's something to that. I mean, it'd be interesting to try and find the corollaries to missed free throws versus point differential in those games and see if truly, hey, yeah, sometimes it can be that simple. You lose by 8, you miss 10 free throws. Like sometimes it is that cut and dry. And, we had a caller, I think it was Raj earlier, who mentioned, the free throws, or I don't think it was Raj who said, if you can't make free throws, it was Ron who said, if you can't make free throws, you shouldn't be in the NBA. Of course, that can't be the case when your two best players are the ones who aren't making free throws, but they have to figure out a way to balance that thing out, because you cannot just sign up every year and say, with our two guys, we're probably going to be bottom 10 in free throws every year. You have to try and remedy that. You have to bring in guys who get to the free throw line and make their free throws to try and offset. Sabonis is always going to be hovering around 70 to 74% from the line. Fox seems like he's going to hover anywhere from 70 to 80% from the line, which is a large variance, but you got to find somebody else who gets to the line a ton that also hits him. Malik was a 91% free throw shooter last year, but not enough volume. You need more guys to help lift that number up.
It's tight today with the press conferences and everything we're trying to get to, but we always have time. 916-339-1144, our guy TC. TC, you got about 30-ish seconds here. What you got for us?
Hey, let's keep it real quick. Hey, listen, first and foremost, what's up, bro? Hey, I'm sick about that loss, dog, but listen, big moves got to be made. I'm going to keep it real simple like this. Check it out. I believe Malik is going to come back. I told y'all from day one, but I'm going to tell y'all Kings fans, and I'm going to tell y'all right now, Alan and Chris, if he don't come back, bro, we're going to be straight. We're going to be straight with Keon. Keon just going to pull the trigger, and he's going to be good. So don't try. I want Malik back, but if you don't come back, you heard it in Fox's voice. That's his homeboy. Fox probably already know, like, if the money is right, Malik is gone. If the money is cool, he going to stay with us. Fox know, but he can't come out and say that. We all know that. We ain't stupid. We all know that. But I'm telling y'all, if he leave, we going to be straight. As far as the move, whatever move we going to make, our moves, it has to be this summer. There's no more waiting for the trade deadline or any of that. I'm going to tell you, the move has to be made. I don't know what it is. We got to go hard after Paul George, Zach LaVine, those two guys. If we can get the boy that went to New York, because listen, he was on a 1-year deal, so we can continue to get that money to OG. Them is the type of moves that we got to make. Keegan, bro, I love Keegan. Bro, you got to the deadline, bro, to really get your game together all off season. You got to start bringing the ball up, and you got to start shooting the ball, big dog. If you come in the next season the same timid Keegan, you have to be on the table, big dog.
Thanks for the call, TC. As always, when we return, we will hear from Domas Sabonis and his exit presser. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sactown Sports and the Sactown Sports app.
Spring savings continue at Folsom Lake Kia. Low payments, special offers, 0 down deals on approval of credit. Shop your trusted Kia dealership for over 25 years and tell them DC sent you. FolsomLakeKia.com.
Hey there, wanted to take a moment of your time so I could talk to you about insecurity. I could talk to you about confidence. I could talk to you about girth. Yeah, what? Girth? Yeah, okay. Let me tell you about the Upsize Clinic at UpsizeMatters.com. My good friend, Dr. Jack, and his friend, Dr. Pash in San Francisco, have a safe, effective, long-lasting doctor-performed procedure. It's non-surgical, virtually pain-free. Now listen, girth is consistently ranked as the most important attribute. What Dr. Jack and Dr. Pash are offering is a free consultation. The procedure can be done on the same day as your consultation and get that confidence back. Reset in the bedroom with your partner. Financing is available. It's very private. It's very discreet. Available in Roseville with Dr. Jack and San Francisco with Dr. Pash at UpsizeMatters.com. That's UpsizeMatters.com.
With a variety of weekly promotions, there's something for everyone to enjoy at a Sacramento River Cats game. Don't miss a Toyota Family Value Tuesday featuring $2 hot dogs and $2 ice cream, or Thirsty Thursday featuring ice cold beer. Join us on Smut Orange Fridays for happy hour and live music. And don't forget to stick around post-game every Friday and Saturday night as we light up the sky with post-game fireworks. Find all promotional details at rivercats.com and make your plans to head out to Sutter Health Park this season.
Lead generation is one of the most important aspects of any marketing campaign. Let us help you identify your target audience and market your products or services to them. Go to aimyourdigital.com today. aimyourdigital.com.
This is Kenny and Jerry from Bell Brothers Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Everyone knows that a group of fish is called a school, but did you know a group of giraffes is called a tower? Or how about a murder of crows, a quiver of cobras, a shadow of jaguars, a shiver of sharks, or a zeal of zebras? Wild, huh? So what do you call a group of Bell Brothers plumbers? They don't fit into any of the traditional plumber stereotypes. They're clean and well-dressed. They're on time and courteous. They're well-trained and friendly. They're exactly the kind of people you'd be comfortable and confident to invite into your home. That's why we proudly call them our family of plumbers. If you need a drain cleared or any other plumbing service, we'll send one of the family right over to help you out. Call Bell Brothers at 916-444-1234, or you can find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
National Ping Club Fitter of the Year, Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop is introducing the straightest, most forgiving Ping driver ever with the new Ping G430 Max 10K driver. A fixed back weight, Ping's largest head profile, and a carbon fly wrap crown help G430 Max 10K launch the ball higher with less spin for consistently longer and straighter results. Schedule your fitting and see for yourself at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, Fulton Avenue to Cap City Freeway, or online at hagenoaks.com.
The Arnold Law Firm has seen how an injury can turn anyone's life upside down. Whether it's a slip and fall, a car accident, or any other kind of injury. For almost 50 years, the Arnold Law Firm has been here to help you through the entire process to protect you and your family. If you are ever injured or in an accident, call the Arnold Law Firm. The Arnold Law Firm, providing real justice for you since 1975. Call 916-777-7777. That's 916-777-7777.
Kevin Lewis with National Garage Door, reminding you that in Sacramento, National Garage Door is King of Garage Doors. We service, sell, and install garage doors and openers. Call us today for your basketball special. A new 16x7 Rainer garage door with insulation and a belt drive opener for only $24.49 installed. Give us a call today, 916-638-4554.
638-4554, National Garage Door.
Maida Chevy saves you $10,000 off MSRP on every 2024 half-ton Silverado, LT, RST, and LTZ in stock after rebate. Over 50 to choose from.
Exclusive all in-stock pricing at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
See deal for details. Ends 4/30/24.
Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown40.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
All right, we were able to time it up just right because Kyle Ledbetter is working so very hard behind the glass for us. Let's throw to Malik Monk and his exit presser right now.
What's going on, Malik?
What's up?
At the end of the Pelicans game, I noticed you just sat on the bench. What's going on, Malik?
What's up?
At the end of the Pelicans game, I noticed you just sat on the bench for a little bit and kind of took that moment in. I wonder what was going through your head. What were you trying to do in that moment?
Let go of the season because it was over. Just try to figure out what's going forward. Figure out what I'm gonna do going forward. And yeah, just trying to let go, decompress.
What was just the level of disappointment as you sat there realizing that you'd potentially had played your last game in Sacramento?
Hard to grasp. I think that's why I was sitting there a little long. DC helped me back to the locker room, though, told me to come on. But yeah, it's kind of bittersweet.
Do you feel like you have an idea of what to expect this summer? And I asked that knowing obviously where you've been in your career prior, Charlotte, LA, and you're coming off of 2 of your best seasons of your career. I imagine it's a fun position to be in, knowing that you can kind of control your own destiny. But do you have an idea of how this might all play out, and if so, how you think it goes?
No, I don't. Because I haven't had two good seasons in a row like this. So yeah, now I don't know what to expect, but I got a great agent, and I know he's gonna make sure I'm good. So I just sit back and relax and let him do his job.
Malik, to build on that point, a lot of the local perspective is are you going to come back? Are the Kings going to lose you? I do think it's fair to you to remember where you've been. Like, you've never been in this position where the momentum in your career was at a level where you're going to have a good market. So as far as your journey and just what you've been through, is it gratifying to be here with options and knowing how much things have changed for you?
Hell yeah, man. It feels good. It feels good. Knowing that going into the offseason, you will have options because I didn't have options before. So yeah, man, it feels good to just, I wouldn't say relax, because you got to still work out and work on your game. But I can, it's a little weight off my shoulders for sure.
Malik, obviously the Kings are limited as to what they can offer you. How tough do you think this decision is going to be for you? Because obviously you built relationships here, could be the sixth man of the year. You've done this here, but you can obviously make more elsewhere. How tough is it weighing all those options?
Yeah, man, it's big because I can go somewhere else with a lot more money and be in a worse situation. So you never know. And like I said, I got a great agent that's going to do his job. I think my job is done. I did what I needed to do this year. And it's going to play out. I think it's going to play out in the right way.
Malik, the last couple seasons, just want to, get your thoughts, working with Mike Brown, because it seemed like that, you have thrived, under his system. And, as far as, the coaching, did you get what you wanted out of him as far as him coaching?
What do you mean in that? What do you mean?
As far as, elevating the game, helping you elevate.
I don't think he helped me elevate my game. I think he put people on notice of what I can do by letting me play. I think my game was already elevated. I just needed an opportunity to show it. But yeah, Mike did a great job with us, knowing all the down people we had that wouldn't talk, dealing with the people that me and Trey that really just spoke up a lot, and just trying to mesh all of us together. I think Mike did a great job in that.
Malik, officially being named a finalist for Sixth Man of the Year, what would it mean to you to win that award, and how badly do you want to win it?
Oh yeah, everything, man. I want it. That's all I've been thinking about, the Sixth Man Award, man. And yeah, yeah, that's all I can say, man. I want it bad. And that's all I've been thinking about since then, especially when the finalists came out. So I hope y'all voted for me.
Malik, seems like you kind of took on a bit of a mentorship role in a lot of ways with this team, with the younger guys. Just kind of touch on that, and you kind of taking on that responsibility with the team, and also how different it might be from young guy to young guy, and how different the approach might be to kind of mentoring them in different ways.
Yeah, man. They're not really young guys because we kind of in the same age, but I just been in the league a little longer. But I think that's why they listen to me, because I've been around, and I've been through the same situation they're going through. And yeah, I think that's what I try to tell them too, so they can listen to me and not try to fight it, because that's what I was doing, fighting it, fighting the information. And everybody just took the information and ran with it. And you can see that with Keon. He finally got his confidence, and I was trying to install that in him since last year. So it's kind of weird, though, like you said, being a young guy, teaching the young guys. But yeah, I think I got that from picking up on with Bron, AD, how they carry themselves and how they used to talk to me. I think that rubbed off a little bit on me.
Malik, you got my vote for six man. What you seem a little bit more emotional than maybe we usually see you right now. I just wonder, like, how much or maybe some of this stuff hitting you today? You've been here, had a chance to play with Fox, had a chance to really show who you are and what you can do on the floor. And
I know, this time you valued it as much as maybe the fans and the organizations valued you. What are you feeling today, and what are these emotions?
I just woke up too. I'm kind of tired. No, yeah, emotions are everywhere, man. Like you said, I came here with one of my best friends, turned the organization around, turned the city around. The city loves me, and I said before, I love the city. So yeah, man, the emotions just everywhere right now, and that's something I got to deal with being an NBA player. So I'll be all right.
Couple questions for you, Malik. First, Keegan just said no matter what decision you make, he'll have your back forever. Domas, De'Aaron have echoed kind of the same thing. The support that they have, knowing that obviously they want you back, they want to keep playing with you, but they support whatever you do and are encouraging you to seek what's best for you. I guess, what does that mean to you?
Everything is everything, man, because they didn't have to accept me when I got here. Besides Fox, but nah, yeah, man, they didn't have to accept me how they did. It was great. They all welcomed me, and like I say, they all listen to me now. Since the last 2 years, I think I stepped up as a leader for the team because Fox not that vocal, Domas not that vocal by telling people what to do or trying to better people. He just shows he goes out there and dominate, and I think that's the way he leads. So everybody got a different way of leading, man, and I think they just accepted me to be the leader of this team in different aspects.
And then secondly, I imagine these last few weeks have been difficult sitting on the sidelines, watching that stretch and watching the play in. Obviously not the result you guys wanted, but I guess how proud are you of the effort and the fight and the Golden State win and everything to get to that point and how much you were a part of that?
Yeah, bro, it was great seeing those guys compete like that, man. But I didn't like it at all because I was watching. I wasn't out there with my guys doing the thing I love the best. So it was kind of bittersweet. Like everything's happening right now, man. But yeah, I loved it. I loved it. It was a great season. Even though it ended like it did, we showed a lot of heart.
I'd imagine it's a good spot to be in, but how tough is it to balance, getting paid as you've played yourself into and also finding what an ideal spot is for you?
That's my agent job. Nah, yeah, man. I'm gonna just take a little time to relax and decompress and not think about it right now. I know my agent is working hard and probably got some options, so that's another reason why I can relax.
Oh, Ravi Malik. Oh. Yeah, so 2 questions for you. Like just overall, since you've been drafted, you've had that 6-man role when you were in Charlotte, down LA with the Lakers, and now up here in Sacramento. And just knowing that now you have mentioned having options, going to a different team in free agency, do you always see yourself as just having that 6-man type career, or are you looking at going to a system to where you want to be more of a facilitator on the offense?
I think I facilitate while I'm being a 6-man, but yeah, I definitely want to start. I think I've been saying that I wanted to start, but if it's not fit for the team for me to start, I'll come off the bench and be the best. So I just take my role and run with it.
Yeah, and the second question, we think about just these connections that are getting made with former college teammates. We think about in New York with the Knicks, with the Villanova connection with DiVincenzo, Brunson, and Josh Hart. And here in Sacramento with Trey Lyles, De'Aaron, and yourself, is that going to be a push for you to want to stay in Sacramento just to keep that nucleus of the guys that you've pretty much came up with and have established, just a system here overall?
Yes and no. Because like I said before, I can go to a situation with more money and be in a worse seeding or role or anything. So it plays a little part in it, but I don't know yet. I don't know.
Malik, to follow up on the college connection, I know you were very excited when Coach Cal decided to go to Arkansas, and as an Arkansas guy yourself, do you want to expand on what that means as the college landscape is moving constantly?
It's just for Arkansas, man. We've been needing somebody to turn the program around, especially on the basketball end, man. And having my former college coach go there, it just shocked really most of the people where I'm from on the northeastern side, because they all said I was gonna go to Kentucky and play with Cal and everything like that, and him just coming to the state where he's available, and some of my friends can go out there and see him and just go interact with him. That changed lives, because we don't see things like that in Arkansas, and I think Cal will turn the whole state around. So it's a big thing. It's a big thing for Arkansas for sure.
You mentioned prior to the injury that what happened in the playoffs postseason could kind of help your calculus on where you're going. How unanswered do you feel like that is, considering that you weren't able to be a part of it? And
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot.
And what is your belief, if you did return, that like this core, is trending in the right direction?
I feel like we'd be playing right now if I was playing. So we would have been going in the right direction with that. So I can't really speak too much on that because I can't control who comes here and who leaves and everything like that. So, but yeah, I just feel like we'll be playing right now. Played yesterday if I was not injured.
Following up on that, do you feel like if you guys had advanced to this, that you would have been healthy enough to actually contribute and be able to be a factor in a first round playoff series?
Say that again.
If you guys had advanced this far, knowing that you had the injury that you did, do you feel like you have clarity as to whether or not you might have been able to contribute?
Definitely. But I still wanted to play though. Yeah. So, but yeah, I definitely could have. Yeah, I definitely did.
And being that you're a direct guy, I feel like we'd be doing a disservice if we didn't ask this question, but perfect world situation, would you want to be in Sacramento?
Definitely.
Malik, you talked a little bit about being there for the quote unquote young guys while you were out. And you mentioned Keon. What do you just see with Keon and his potential moving forward?
A great defender in the NBA. Whether he's starting or coming off the bench, he's going to be a great defender. Got a lot of potential. And he was making shots, and that just added more to his defensive pressure too. So yeah, he's gonna be all right. Keon gonna be all right, and he listens too. Want to learn, want to get better. So yeah, he's gonna be all right. He'll be a good NBA player.
Oh shit! Thank y'all. Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the network made for streaming. Well, as the A's continue this final season in Oakland, I think it's important to remember that the Coliseum has been home to some of the greatest names in the game. August 17th, before the A's play the Giants, the A's will honor Jose Canseco, Terry Steinbach, Miguel Tejada, Bill King, Dick Williams, and Eddie Juice from the Philly days as the latest members of the A's Hall of Fame.
Want more speed? Well, Xfinity just increased their internet speeds, and they're faster than ever. It's time to get more out of your internet with faster speeds from Xfinity. Now through June 21st, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for only $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. That's double the speed for the same great price. Click, call, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and other charges extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
Grab the keys to a new Toyota. Get ready to take on the great outdoors in a brand new Toyota truck. Answer the call to adventure with powerful performance and start exploring. Right now, get low 1.99% APR financing on the powerful 2024 Tundra and Tundra Hybrid. Or check out the all-new redesigned 2024 Tacoma. Toyota, let's go places. Offer available through TFS to buyers. DRG Starlines 43024.
Introducing the new Super Power Mop, the all-in-one tool that gives you a mop to clean in half the time. The solutions go right in, so no heavy bucket has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into ground. Don't mop hard, mop smart. Switch the power! Switch the power!
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less and for a limited time. New customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code month free by May 31st. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, think up. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Will apply. See website.
Casino has
Later, Sacramento convenient downtown location for over 20 years with plenty of close by, well-lit, monitored by security staff and offering a variety of table games in the region. The environment, best service, and the best at Capital Casino. For more information on tournaments and gaming, check out the website at capital-casino.com. And please remember to gamble responsibly.
Oh, honey, it's oh, my ass. Hi, Mrs. Sparks. You wanted me to stop by? Okay with your lethal protection system? Okay. We want you to stop by for dinner as our way of
Yes, thank you for that free gutter inspection, the free estimate, and what was the other thing? That lifetime guarantee.
Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Sparks, those are just Leaf Filter's policies. Everyone who calls Leaf Filter gets a protocol for a free gutter inspection and estimate. And every Leaf Filter installation comes with a lifetime guarantee.
So it's not just
no, sir. We don't want anyone to worry about clogged gutters ever again.
You mean everyone gets this level of service?
Everyone. They just need to visit leaffilter.com/build to schedule their free inspection.
Okay, but you must be starving. You work so hard. Ready to love your gutter protection as much as we do? Visit leaffilter.com/build and get up to 30% off today.
See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per sold.
It ignites something inside of you. Sets alight an elevated state of being. Days are pure exploration. And the nights, they're simply electric. Here, feel it.
Lightning.
Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
Guys, your testosterone level impacts your energy, drive, weight, hair loss, and even ED. Revive Men's Health will check your T level for free. For your free T level check, exam, and consultation, call 916-277-8599 or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
The text line, Zach had a lot of doom and gloom. Thinking that on, we just played presser. Call in. We'd like to react to what you just heard from De'Aaron and Malik. We also have some bonus a little bit later. Yeah, I mean, he said everything he's supposed to say, right? I don't think, and I know, Chris, you have some strong feelings about people that have strong feelings either way, but he said what he's supposed to say. He did the job that he's supposed to do. He's got a great agent. It's in the agent now. I believe that was Sean Cunningham at the very end. Sean to the show. Asked straight up, in a perfect world, would you stay in Sacramento? And Malik said, yeah. And honestly, Sacramento, definitely. Honestly, Sacramento Kings fans, that's all you can ask for. Yep. The good thing is, the only question out of all of this, Chris, there's two questions. The only two questions to me that Malik has to answer is how big of a difference it's going to be between the $17 million a year versus the other offer, and who that team is, and what that team would bring to the table as far as quality of life for what Malik wants out of life, the team and the competitive nature of that team. Those are the only two questions. Yeah. So Malik's going to know fairly soon what the offers are going to be once the delos once this whole thing is said and done, and also which teams are interested in him. So he knows. He said it right there. He said, I know I can make more money somewhere else, but it could be a worse situation. So he knows that. The problem is if there is more money, it doesn't be a worse situation that he could envision himself at. So he knows what's in front of him. It's just a matter of how big of a difference the money and the situation is.
Yeah. Two questions straight off the bat. Malik's agent's been asked: do you want to stay in Sacramento? Yes or no? The answer is yes. Second question: how badly do you want to stay? Right. Because if you really want to stay, you'll make money. You'll make about $17 million, but you'll also be leaving some on the table. And if you kind of want to stay in Sac, or you want to stay in Sac, if it makes sense for you, well, well, then there's going to be a lot of different options that you can explore, and we just don't know exactly what those other options are. Like you just said, like if it's if it's Philadelphia that's offering him a ton of money and they're offering him a starting spot, and maybe there are some other players that are being whispered about, Philly being interested in. Maybe that makes a lot of sense. Maybe we've talked about Orlando a ton. I know their cap figure has moved because a lot of the initial predictions didn't have Orlando bring back Jonathan Isaac. Now that they're going to bring back Jonathan Isaac, they don't have a completely empty, or I should say, full pocketbook to throw at Malik. So that
Right.
kind of impacts what the money they can throw at him. San Antonio's got there's tons of different options for Malik if he wants it. But he even said, I think he said I could go somewhere else and get a lot more money, but he might be in a worse situation. And I don't think he wants to be in that worse situation. I think that's the thing that the Kings have for them on their side, is they are definitely building up. And Malik even said it there. I think if I were playing, we would still be playing. We would be in the playoffs if Malik was out there. And, if he believes that, then that shows that the ultimate end result isn't the way Malik feels about this team, if that makes sense. Yes, because in the Slater article earlier this season, it said, definitely how this season ends is going to impact where I'm feeling on this whole decision. And if Malik feels like, even though they lost in the play-in, I don't think that's the play-in. I think Malik knowing that nuance is incredibly important for these negotiations, because if he were just walking into this situation blind, he would say, no, you guys didn't make the playoffs. You're not a playoff team. Yeah, you're young, but there's a lot of young teams out there. He understands the situation might be right if I'm playing there. Who knows? This could be a second round exit team, and a team that's a lot closer to reaching their goal than what it actually ended up being. So a lot of interesting notes in there from Malik, and a lot of things that I think people are going to use as fuel for where Malik is absolutely gone. I think there was enough quotes in there too, even though Malik had a lot of positivity towards Sacramento. Definitely let it know that he's going to explore his options for sure.
Yeah, and that's just people trying to protect themselves. That's exactly what it is. This is from NBA University, and we've said this before. Fox talking about Malik. This was when we will play that Fox sound a little bit later in the show. As if he's gone. Teams like the Spurs, the Magic, the Detroit, Philly, and Utah will all have space to bring a unrestricted free agent contract larger than that. I'm looking here, Chris, quickly. Utah, I can't see Malik Utah. They're not even contending. They might try to throw a bag at him. Utah needs to figure out what it is they want to do. Philly, I can say, as somebody who's lived in Philly and somebody who's lived in Sacramento, I don't know if Malik. I think on the court Malik would love it. I don't know if off the court. Look, I'll put you like this: you can't golf all year round, Malik. You cannot golf all year round in Philadelphia. Yeah. Detroit, you definitely can't golf all year round. And do you want to be a part of
golf early, but you can.
You'll be free around this time every single year. OKC is interesting, but I think if OKC is going to make a move, they're going to try to get it big and turn this thing into a full-on machine for the next decade here. So I don't know that how high Malik would be on the Thunder's wish list. I think the two teams you got to worry about that we've been saying from the beginning: the Spurs and the Magic. I think it comes down to the Spurs and the Magic.
Both of those teams have about $25 million of cap.
And
so would they be willing to dump all of that?
In my opinion, and Chris, hop in here. If you are a Kings fan, you should want D'Angelo Russell to ball out, right?
Yep, him and Clay. Well, Clay's
done.
over, but
Clay kind of messed
those are the
it
two
up.
guys that are probably going to take Malik's money.
Now, is this just to say that no matter what D'Angelo Russell does, the Lakers wouldn't want him back?
I don't know if that's the case, because the Lakers might not have any other option. They might be desperate and say, in the same way the Kings can't afford to lose Malik, Lakers might be feeling that same way about D'Lo. Yeah, I don't know if we want to keep him long term, but at the same time, if we don't bring him back, we're not going to be winning.
What I've seen is I've seen Trey Young. You see everybody with the Lakers,
That's right.
If they're able to get Trae Young,
I think
there's-
that's going to be what try.
right. So then they would be okay with. They're not going to try to match on
Sure.
D'Angelo Russell. So I believe Kings fans want D'Angelo Russell to ball out,
Please.
so that maybe the Magic or the Spurs say, "Hey, let's go
Right.
after one of these guys," and D'Angelo Russell would be higher on the wish list than Malik Monk. When we return, Domantas Sabonis, the other leader of the team, speaks during his exit presser. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Subscribe to Sactown Sports on YouTube and watch the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys, live Monday through Friday from 6 to 6. Plus, new archive shows and exclusive content.
Subscribe at youtube.com/Sactown Sports.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
Get in zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Valvoline Advanced can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life oil filter for only $35.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
When I want to stretch out after a long day, my sofa needs to be comfortable, but it also needs to look attractive and inviting when guests come to visit. I am Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. We spend so much time on our living room sofas that we forget they're a focal point and a hint to our decorating tastes. Right now, during Naturewood Home Furnishings sofa sale, you can save on every sofa, including gallery-exclusive custom-ordered flex steel furniture. Whether you're interested in a new sofa, sectional, or recliner, you can choose from hundreds of colors and fabrics. Nobody has more styles and choices than Naturewood Home Furnishings. And when it comes right down to it, it's all about choices and always about quality. Shop Naturewood for the look you love at a price you'll love even more. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings right now for this remarkable sofa sale. Off Highway 50 at Hazel, look for the water wheel.
Were you recently in a car accident? Don't let the insurance companies push you around. Turn to the experts at Gonzalez Law. Our team specializes in car accident cases, wrongful termination, and criminal defense, fighting tirelessly to get you the compensation and justice you deserve. With years of experience and a track record of success, we don't settle for less, and neither should you. Visit SACLegalDefense.com or call 916-304-9187 for a free consultation. Gonzalez Law, your advocate in the fight for justice.
So here's a fact. 85% of the population will suffer from foot pain in their lifetime. That's almost everyone. So you'd think there'd be plenty of healthy long-term remedies, but there just aren't, right? Hi, I'm Dan from the Good Feet store. You know, people come in all the time sharing the same frustrating story. Bought this, tried that, been there, done whatever, all different kinds of things, but all with a similar result. Nothing. A discouraging and endless cycle of disappointment. If this rings a bell, don't despair. There is hope. If you think you've tried everything, you probably haven't tried Good Feet arch supports from the Good Feet store. They're designed to relieve, even eliminate, the pain commonly caused by certain foot conditions like plantar fasciitis, bunions, flat feet, and others. Plus, provide better balance and increased comfort. See what we can do for you with a free arch support fitting. Just stop in or schedule an appointment. With over 200 stores, there's likely one in your neck of the woods. Find yours at goodfeet.com.
Everybody needs good feet.
Jerry and Kenny here. When you call Bell Brothers for an AC tune-up, repair, or replacement, let me tell you what you can expect. Clean.
Our technicians will show up in a company truck that's clean inside and out. They'll be wearing a clean uniform and ring your doorbell with clean hands.
The technician will be clean-cut, background checked, drug tested, and trustworthy to enter your home. They'll put on clean shoe covers and put down drop cloths in all work areas. That's right, to make sure your home stays clean.
And when the work is complete, they'll tidy up and leave the work area cleaner than they found it.
Call us neat freaks. Call us spick and span. Call us tidy, pristine, and immaculate.
But whatever you do, call Bell Brothers for an AC tune-up and repairs, because with us, you can count on it being clean. Call us at 916-444-1234 or find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
KHTKAM HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports.
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
We got one more for you, and it is Domas Sabonis and his exit presser. Here he is.
The season overall, a lot of expectations heading into it. How do you guys feel like as a group you've handled those expectations, and would you classify this season?
Good morning.
Good morning, Domas. When you look at the season overall, a lot of expectations heading into it. How do you guys feel like as a group you've handled those expectations, and would you classify this season as a disappointment not making the playoffs?
Yeah, it's definitely very disappointing how it ended. You know, it's frustrating. You know, it's tough to even watch the playoffs, you know, knowing that we could be there and fighting.
Domas, Mike talked a lot this season about you didn't catch teams by surprise anymore compared to last season. I'm just curious how you saw that and how you felt that on the court, and how you think this team grew over the course of the year of recognizing that and still finding ways to win.
For sure. You know, I don't think that's an excuse either, because, I mean, you're playing against a team and you need to win. You know, you can't always catch them by surprise. But I definitely felt like post All-Star break, we definitely had a lot of improvements there. And then we had a couple injuries go down, which kind of made us start again from the beginning and figure this whole new rotation thing out. And we ended up falling short at the end.
Domas, two questions for you. Number one, is it hard to look at this season and really assess like what it was? Do you take it at face value for the win total, where you finished in the West, or do you look at some of the games that got away and you know, some of the injuries you dealt with and think that, you know, like as we've heard, this could have been maybe a 51, 52 win team?
Definitely, yeah. It's hard to assess right now. You know, I was talking to some of the guys, like, it wasn't a bad season. You know, we were always up on a good note, on a high. You know, like usually when you don't make the playoffs, you have a losing record or you're almost at 500. You know, so it definitely didn't feel that this way. So the fact that we're not in the postseason is definitely hard to swallow right now. So I can't really answer that.
And Malik's future obviously is a big focal point right now. How important has he been? And you know, do you approach him? Do you say anything just about how much you guys would love to keep him
trying
around?
every day since the beginning of training camp. You know, obviously he knows how what I think of him and how much I care about him. So yeah, hopefully we would love to have him back.
Domas, a year ago, well, not this soon though, but after the season was over, after the Warriors series that you was in, you had mentioned that there were some things that you want to work on in the off season, which it appears that you did, because I mean you went crazy with the double doubles and you led the league in triple doubles. going into this offseason, because you and De'Aaron both have made improvements in your game. What are some of the things that you want to focus on individually to continue helping your team win?
I think it's everything the same. You just got to keep trying to focus on your craft and be more consistent, more efficient, more ways that you can help the team out. We clearly see we need more on this team, to compete with the best, especially in the West like this. So anyway, we can improve our games to help manage that gap. It's going to be a big thing for us.
Domas, 2 questions for you. First, are you healthy heading into the offseason? If that's the case, does that change your offseason plans at all?
No, yeah, everything's good.
And then 2, you just alluded to it. What changes do you think that need to be made or need to be added to this roster that you guys didn't have this year?
Right now, for me, that's not a question for me. That's more for Monty and Wes. We're going to have these meetings later.
Tomas, as you kind of reflect on your tenure here in Sacramento the past couple of years, how does it kind of feel, or how would you assess the way you've been able to evolve as a player? Kind of becoming the hub of the offense, and talk about the double numbers and the triple numbers. Just from your point of view, how does it feel to know you've evolved in this kind of a way as a player in your stay here in Sacramento?
It's been really fun, really fun. Like I always say, since the first day, I've been welcomed here with open arms, and it's made it very easy for me to transition and really be the player who I am today, and I always give credit to my teammates. They're the ones who make it easier for me on the court. So their trust, allowing me to be me on the court, is what's led me to be here.
Hey, Domas, you talked about, those decisions are Monty and Wes. I'm just more curious, you and Fox, they obviously have such a commitment to financially, and wondering how comfortable maybe you having a voice in some of the decision making that goes on with this organization. Like, do you feel like you have an impact in that way and have the freedom to speak up in that regard?
Yeah, of course. Monty and Wes have always been really open with me and included me in some big decisions, which I appreciate, and hopefully it keeps moving forward that way, and we have a big summer coming up.
Domas, your individual accomplishments this year, from the triple doubles, the double doubles, everything of that nature. I know it's focused on from an individual standpoint and as an individual stat, but how did the team kind of grow around you and get to a point to where you were able to have that success?
Just every day grinding, being together, learning from each other each game. Season was a lot of ups and downs, with everyone with rotations, guys coming in and out, next man up, and us adapting to that, I feel like, is what kind of helped us get to where we were. We just fell short at the end.
Domas, I know last summer you worked with Doug all summer long on sort of the finer nuances of the game. What is it that you plan on focusing on this season, especially the jump shooting? Is it more threes? Is it more mid-range? What is it you're trying to work on?
Like I say, it's always a bit of everything. My overall game, I feel like, through the offense, I kind of have to have a threat everywhere on the court, since I'm getting played through, on the elbow in a situation like that. But knowing Doug, he already has a whole book written for me, and we got to go over it now. And he's very creative, and we're going to get to work straight away.
With you and De'Aaron being the stars of this team, how do you feel like you guys did this year as leaders on and off the court, and where can you continue to grow?
I feel like there's always room to always room to improve and to grow in that situation, and De'Aaron has grown hugely, speaking up, keeping guys accountable, and I think it's definitely showed, and we just got to kind of keep adding on to that into next year, with this group or whatever may happen. I don't know.
Domas, you're locked in for quite a while financially and contract wise here. De'Aaron's going to come up sooner or later. Keegan's going to come up. Do you worry that when you take what might feel like a step back this year, that maybe some of the guys around you, their confidence gets shaken? Does your confidence get shaken in the direction and where you guys are going and what you can be?
I definitely don't think it's shaken. If anything, it'll just motivate us more. I do believe that there always has to be a little step back before you kind of climb up all the way to the top. So the fact that it happened now, I'm only hoping for good things moving forward.
Domas, on your right here, you've been asked about this a lot all season long, but now that it's over, the offensive side of the ball just wasn't what it was last year. The defense got better. You're obviously incredibly important on that end. Just what's your final assessment of why the offense seemed to take a step back and how big of a part of the offseason conversation is that going to be?
I think it's going to be big. We got to go over things and see how we want to play. We had a really good year offensively last year, and this year, obviously the year before, we had a lot of players having career years, if efficiency wise, and all that stuff, so that obviously had an effect this year. But there's always ways to improve and get better shots, and it should definitely be a big emphasis this summer, going into training camp to see how we can kind of adjust that or make it better or see what players think.
Domas, one of those career guys was Malik. Obviously, he talked about almost campaigning for him a little bit and trying to convince him. But can you speak to just his overall importance and to this roster that you feel he has? And did it take even that much more of a step this year from last?
Yeah, with Malik, it's not even on the court. It's everything does off the court. He keeps us together. He brings this energy. He always has guys with a smile on their face. And kind of has that off-court vibe that every team's looking for a guy like that on the team, and he definitely brings that with this group where we have a couple of more quiet guys.
Oh,
thank you guys. Thank you.
Sorry, Domas, one more question for you. Can you just talk about the growth of Keegan and what you've seen out of him? I know you guys, have a pretty good relationship. Just speak on his growth as a player and how you guys kind of been able to grow together on the team.
Yeah, we've all seen it this year. He's had games where he's shown flashes of really, really, really good basketball player, and hopefully we can keep adding to that this summer, and I know he's going to work hard. He's already talking about it, and just try to get him out there and be more consistent with us out there, and really, really be him. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sactown Sports app.
Febreze. So my home is also my office. And before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up and spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. Changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Valvoline Advanced can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life oil filter for only $35.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
Heard from Malik Monk, De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis. Most recently, Domantas Sabonis was asked a lot of questions, and Sabonis was one of the shorter pressers. Sabonis kind of gets to the point. He answered all the questions, but obviously Malik, people had a lot of things to ask Malik, and De'Aaron is really the face. So De'Aaron had a lot of things to answer as well. But, Chris, one thing, I know there was somebody out there when Sabonis was asked about improving. I know there was somebody out there that was hoping that Sabonis would bring up the mid-range jump shots, the middies, but I know he will be working on all parts of his game throughout the season. He's healthy going into the offseason, which is huge. Yeah, one of the main questions was whether or not guys would feel a little bit downtrodden as to how the season ended. And, Sabonis, he is really good at answering questions like this. He said, if anything, it will just motivate us more.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, a lot of teams, I think this could be a pretty damaging thing for the locker room. Everybody feeling like you fell short of expectations. A lot of people are going to point fingers and say, oh, if you didn't do this, if we didn't do this, we told you this. But Mike Brown has said it, and we kind of have joked about it a bit, but this is the most connected locker room that he says he's ever had. And I think that's definitely a sign of that they were able to recognize, like, hey, this is not the way that this season ended isn't necessarily indicative of how good or bad this team is. We know the talent that we have in this locker room, and ultimately, just because you didn't, it kind of ties into the Giannis thing of last year, success or failure. I think a lot of people they're going to view this season as a failure if it's one or the other. But I think the fact that they understand that this team had more to give, and ultimately there's a lot of reasons why they weren't able to show it. To me, I think that's a really good sign that these guys actually did like each other. It wasn't just lip service. It wasn't just Mike Brown, throwing the media a bone and trying to make him seem like everything's actually fine with this locker room. I think that's truly a sign that things are good in that locker room, that they would use this pretty terrible ending to your season as motivation and not as anger.
Yeah, and as far as the system, if you will, and we'll talk about Keegan and the DHOs and Keegan's growth. I mean, there were a couple clips, Chris, against the Pelicans where they were literally treating Domas like the Kings treat point guards, right? They were just getting the ball out of his hands to not allow him to initiate the offense and create. And I do think that that's something that the Kings will need to address and go back to the drawing board as far as, and Sabonis kind of talked about it. We got to go over things and see how we want to play. I don't know if I'm straight up saying that the offense has hit a ceiling, but it's either it's hit a ceiling or you need players that are going to be able to execute it at a higher level, because I do think it's pretty close to hitting a ceiling, and they have to either add some more wrinkles or something. They can't go into the next season with the same roster or the same system that they've been running.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's a question definitely of if they need to switch it up, because you can say this year was tough, but you can also say that if you want to talk about this team's ceiling offensively, the ceiling was the number one offense of all time. So it's kind of tough to fall which one of those is more your team. And I think that's kind of the thing that you have to figure out, is how much can we rely on shooting and how much of it was just, this was a bad year for our shooters. And that's probably going to bump up the next year. But also, I mean, at the end of the year, they took on a defensive identity, and that's not something that this team has had in the past. And I think ultimately, De'Aaron said it in his press conference, that's how they need to win, is figuring out how to win in more than one way. And that's learning how to play defensively for 82 games. Do they need to kind of take away some of the offense in order to have the stamina to be able to do that over a course of 82 games? Do they need to bring in different personnel? Is it maybe, like we're losing Malik or whatever, we're trading HB or Kevin Huerter or whoever you're getting rid of? Who are we bringing back in to maybe change the identity? And by changing the identity, of course, you're also changing the style of play. I think, and Sabonis even said that's not really up for me to decide. It's up to Monty and Wes and of course, Mike Brown. But those are definitely the things that I took out of Sabonis's presser, is even he's questioning, like, I don't know if this style of offense is necessarily the future of what we're going to look like.
Yeah, you just can't have an offense with so many stipulations and ifs, right? As long as we're healthy and as long as we're hot, the sky's the limit.
Same with a lot of people.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. That is not something that you're going to be able to depend on year in and year out. And we saw it this season to the tune of 46 wins. Again, in a West that is just on a different level.
Yeah, for sure. And then that goes into the Keegan conversation too, which we kind of spoke on a little bit there. But like, is Keegan ready to take a leap for this team? I think is another huge thing that they all have to play a part in. Like, figuring out how much do they, I don't want to say how much do they believe in Keegan, but this year was already supposed to be a really big jump for Keegan, and it was in some aspects for sure, but do you want to rely on that again this offseason? I think a lot of that is going to come down to who they bring in and who leaves and all that. But like, Tomas saying Keegan's already talking and thinking about how he's going to improve in the offseason. That's great. That's awesome to hear that they already have a lot of plans for how they want him to get better. But what's it actually going to turn into, I think, is of course just another really big storyline going into next season. Is this team going to double down or triple down on Keegan Murray again?
Yeah, and it depends on Malik Monk. It depends on where they go in the direction as far as Herter, what's going to happen with Herter, what's going to happen with Harrison Barnes. So a lot of questions that need to be answered. 916-339-1140. Ron's got more to say. What's up, Ron? What you got for us?
Yeah, thank you for taking and letting me hold so long. This is for Malik. I hope it's within your power to stay with the Kings. I also hope that the guys that got the deep purses figure it out. If you're gone, the Kings lose. You were the life of the team for the last 2 years. You went out on the floor, looked around who you could mess with first, and you did it. And you did it with emphasis. You're a jewel to watch on the court. The Kings need you. And if they don't get a deep pocket, I hope you stop during the game on the next team you're with and stand in front of them and say, I told you so. We love you.
No, thanks for the call, Ron. Yeah, and we've broken this down, and we're probably just gonna have to keep breaking it down until the Malik decision is made. But it's not I mean, Vivek could say, "Hey, Malik, we want to give you the River Cats Stadium," if he wanted to, but he legitimately is not allowed based on how they signed Malik. Right. They cannot eclipse the number that comes out to about 17 mil a year. Yeah. So it is, if the Kings, and that is what Malik said in the press conference, he can get more money somewhere else because it is within the NBA rule book based on how they acquired Malik and where they are in their logistical and accounting realm with the Kings. They can't overpay him. Right. They cannot pass 17 million a year, even if they wanted to. That is part of the reason people feel a little bit pessimistic about Malik, because he can probably get 20 million a year from someone else, or maybe even more than that, right? And I think once you start getting to 22 and 23 million a year difference, it's like 6 million a year difference. And De'Aaron Fox, we have that sound, we'll play it. De'Aaron Fox talking about how you can only play this game for so long, especially somebody like Malik Monk, who got drafted high. People thought he was going to be a bust, and he's seen the other side. Right. So he's probably one of the worst people to have. This isn't Klay Thompson, who's made
tons of money. Yes.
A ridiculous amount. This is not Klay Thompson, where he can afford to take a pay cut, relatively speaking, of course. Malik hasn't gotten the big bag yet.
This is it.
Yes,
this is the big bag.
This is the big bag. This could be his only opportunity. We joke about Dennis Schroeder all the time. You might only get one opportunity to get that bag.
Yeah, no, and I think in a weird way, of course, it'd be great if the Kings can throw him more money than 17 million in a perfect world. But I've been thinking about this in a weird way. I think it's probably best for the Kings organization that they are capped. I don't think 17 is the right number, but it's good that they're capped, because truly, I think if there wasn't a cap, everybody's 100% right. Like, Vivek would do whatever it took to bring Malik Monk. The Kings would have absolutely zero leverage in any sort of negotiation. So in a weird way, if you care about this team's like if you're like an NBA 2K My GM guy, in a weird way, this is the best thing for the Kings if Malik is going to stay, because you're going to get him at the lowest possible number, because he's not a 17 million $7 million per year guy. He's probably a lot more towards those 20s, and the Kings probably in order to have him not think about considering other offers, probably would be willing to pay him $25 million if all things were created equal.
In a perfect world, that cap would be at 20 million a year.
Probably,
because then you feel really good about Malik staying. Unfortunately, this is where we're at. But we also know that in a perfect world, Malik said he would definitely, and I quote, definitely want to stay. When we return, whether you have Malik Monk or not, somebody else needs to take a big step, and that's Keegan Murray. We have some quotes from Keegan Murray's presser, and also what that means for his development. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
The handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right down to the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdle Pulls him in. 10, 5, touchdown! CMC!
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sactown Sports.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. 8+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Thinking of remodeling your home? Say goodbye to endless internet searches and visit Subcontractors United. Find a list of 3 pre-qualified and licensed contractors in each home service category. From cabinets to landscapers and everything in between, Subcontractors United makes finding qualified contractors free and easy, with no accounts to set up. Visit subcontractorsunited.com and experience the joy of stress-free home improvement. Save time and money at subcontractorsunited.com.
Country in the Park is back May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Jay Cohen, Walker Hayes, and more. Tickets start at just $46. Country in the Park, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPFest.com.
Brought to you by Tug Shed, new Dawn treatment sensors, and Raising Cane's chicken fingers.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T level is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They're in Midtown in the Cal Sutter Medical Building and also offer telemedicine appointments. Plus, with free shipping directly to you, Revive takes the hassle out of treating low T and ED. Schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation today. Call Revive Men's Health at 916-365-4566. That's 916-365-4566 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave inviting you to make the switch to electric this spring and save big with American Energy. Stay ahead of those spiking energy bills this summer with up to $9,000 in rebates on a new ultra-high efficiency comfort system. American Energy is providing huge rebates from SMUD as well as spring specials by installing one of many incredibly efficient AC options available to you right now. Get rid of those fluctuating gas bills in the winter and switch to year-round all-electric with American Energy. Let them perform a free in-home energy efficiency analysis and see where they can help you save for the warmer months ahead. These guys are the best. Been serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. A+ from the Better Business Bureau. Learn more by calling 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you target the right audience, build your leads, and crush your quota. Take your business to the next level. Our digital marketing strategies help grow awareness of your product or service, all while building trust in your business. Our approach involves leveraging multiple tools and strategies to deliver exceptional results that are customized to your unique business needs. Don't wait to run out of sales leads. Keep your business growing. Get started with aimyourdigital.com today.
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
From the 530, how many years can they offer Monk? Yeah, basically
what they can offer, the best deal they can offer Malik Monk is 4 years, $78 million.
Yep, that's it. It is starts off at just under 18 and gets as high as I think $21 million is like how it would escalate in price. But
sure,
it's definitely not what he'll get on the open market. I mean, on the open market, his contract will probably start at 20 million and then escalate from there. It's a good deal. It's not anything fantastic. I mean, especially when you look at what Grayson Allen just got paid from our friends down in Phoenix. I mean, it's definitely not that kind of number, which is a little concerning, but it's really all up to the other suitors. He got a 4-year. He got 4 years 70 actually. So he did get around there, and Grayson Allen shot 46% from 3 this season. He was a starter. I think everyone would probably say Malik is a better player or more important to a team, but 4 years 70 is, I wouldn't think that really affects Malik's market actually. Because it's clearly not higher than what he would get paid from the Kings, so it's not disrespectful, and then it's not really low enough to where it's pushing the market down. So
I mean, a nightmare scenario would be if D'Lo, the Lakers, and I don't even know what the Lakers are able to do, but the Lakers blow D'Lo out of the water, keep him with a ridiculous amount, and D'Lo sitting at 23 mil a year or something like that, because then you would say, all right, well, Malik is going to be around, or I don't think the Lakers would ever give Russell 25. But
I hope not.
How terrible would that be if D'Angelo Russell gets a 9-figure contract while Malik Monk ends up with like 4 for 70?
But that would be Malik's choice, at least. It would be his choice.
But we know which one's a better player, right?
Yeah, and so does Malik.
Yeah, absolutely.
Klay Thompson making 43 mil as we speak.
Yeah, but there's also, if D'Angelo takes that money, with great power comes great responsibility, and you can't be missing shots if you're making that much money.
I would be thrilled if the Lakers signed D'Angelo Russell.
I would too. It would definitely be best for the Kings. Absolutely. If D'Angelo Russell signs that big of a contract.
He can't guard anybody.
He is this is the best offensively he's looked in a really, really long time, maybe ever. I wouldn't want to bank on it. He's on a contract year. He's a guy who's shown to be very selfish at times, and I think this role is perfect for him that he has right here, right now. But what happens once LeBron takes another step back? Then D'Lo is going to say, this is why you pay me so much. And I don't think the Lakers want that. We want that here in Sacramento, but I don't think the Lakers should want that.
I don't think so. Well, another player that needs to take a leap is Keegan Murray.
Yeah.
And Keegan, this is from our own Brendan Nunez from the Keegan Murray presser. Keegan talked about not being as one-dimensional next season, meaning primarily scoring off of DHOs. Sure. He mentioned running PNRs, playmaking for others, and creating his own looks. Also said the attention he got from defenses was eye-opening.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's a positive step in the sense of he's on people's scouting reports now.
Well, is that the equivalent of, back in the day, you go to school and the girl you got a crush on notices you and says, oh, did you get a haircut? Oh, did you get your braces off?
I think it was a lot more than that.
Well, a couple girls then, because a couple teams had their eyes on Keegan Murray. And yeah, Keegan, I mean, ultimately the Kings did, and Mike Brown talked about it as well. They snuck up on, I believe that was in there's a Ringer article, there's Sam Amick Athletic. There are multiple articles on the Kings right now. They are a very hot topic in the basketball world, but you weren't sneaking up on anybody. You snuck up on the Warriors, but that was more of the Warriors just not understanding how to play actual basketball. But everybody knew what Keegan Murray was bringing to the table this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's on Keegan to figure that out. That's the sophomore slump that everybody talks about. Isn't the fact that people forget how to play basketball between their first and second year. It's your first year, you're on nobody's scouting report. Maybe towards the end of the year, you start to be a part of it. But in your second year, people know who you are. They know what your game is. They have full 82 games of film on you, plus some playoff games. So they understand a lot better of what you're trying to get to, the kind of things that you don't like, the things that you do like. And, it just naturally comes with time. And I think every rookie going into, or I guess second-year player would tell you, yeah, second year is a whole lot different. Ask Scotty Barnes last year, and then he took a major leap forward again this year. I expect that to be Keegan. I said it on the post games earlier. I definitely think this is going to be the only year of Keegan's career, at least for a very long time, where he doesn't shoot 40% from three. I think it was just a lot of teams figuring it out. I think it was a lot of him being asked to do a lot more than he had ever been asked to do before. And I think next year he's going to come in with a much better expectation of what is actually going to be thrown at him. And plus, he's got actual confidence, too. I think it's going to be a really big third year for Keegan, but he's got to, of course, put the work in the offseason. He's got to work with De'Aaron Fox. I would like to see him work with more than De'Aaron Fox. I think we saw a lot of Keegan Murray copycat moves this year that he directly took from De'Aaron. He had this weird stutter step that he clearly learned from De'Aaron, a little step back mid-range jump shot that he clearly learned from De'Aaron. If HB is going to be back, learn the HB slow Euro.
He's already got it on lock.
If Sabonis is going to be around, learn how to bang around with some bigger guys. Learn how to finish through contact. I think there's a lot of things that Keegan can do this offseason that can really, really help him next year. And, of course, I just think natural maturation is going to be big too. He's 24, 25 years old. There's going to be a whole new crop of 18, 19, 20-year-old guys that he's going to be much more physically mature than. You got to hope that all those factors play into it, and he has a really, really big third year.
We kind of go back and forth about this, but who is the Keegan Murray comp?
I think the Klay Thompson one's getting more and more accurate. I do think
finally,
that's it. Yeah,
finally.
I never loved the Chris Middleton one. It never made sense to me. That's the one that a lot of people threw out at draft time. I thought Chris Middleton is actually really good, and he's got a handle on him. Keegan has absolutely no handle whatsoever.
Last year, De'Aaron was talking about his finishing. This year, he's roasting his dribbling,
and it's his handles. And next year is probably gonna. You mentioned that he talked about pick and roll. He's got to be able to pass too. That's definitely the next part of his development. You get no playmaking at all from your forward positions, and you can't have that. I think that's a huge gap for this team, that they just don't have anybody who they can put the ball in their hands and say, maybe Keegan draws a double and gets somebody open. Maybe Keegan drives and dumps it off to Sabonis because he gets so much attention. There's not a single person not named Monk or Fox on this team that can do that. And I think Keegan's who they're looking to. It becomes a point of how much, they clearly view Keegan like a raw clay, where they're just we can manipulate this however we want. At some point, he's going to reach a limit to where he's stretched too far. You can't ask him to shoot well, to defend at a high level, to dribble, to pass, to do it all. It's at some point, somebody else has to pick up the slack, and Keegan is just good at what he's good at. It'll be interesting to find where is that limit, because I do think he's got a lot of room to grow, but at the same time, you mentioned De'Aaron saying he's the worst finisher in the league. Where, how far of a ceiling can you actually go on that before it's just, look, even if he gets 4 times better than he was when he started, he's still at a pretty low level. Maybe that just shouldn't be something we explore, if that makes sense.
But this is the same thing that we were talking about, I believe, last week, as far as who do you believe on your team to be one of those two guys that can just do it all.
Right.
You're do-it-all guys. Yeah. And you have a Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson wasn't a do-it-all guy.
No.
He's going to the Hall of Fame, but he did certain things at a high level.
Yeah.
So it's Keegan Murray, to your point, if you continue to add stuff to his plate, then have the conversation that you think he's a future MVP.
Right.
Because that's where this is going.
Yeah,
but if not, then you what the organization needs to do is start to figure out who they want Keegan Murray to be.
Yes,
absolutely. You can't have him be all the – and the problem is when you have too many other guys who are – okay, Kevin Huerter does one specific thing. Right. HB kind of does everything. I called him back in the day the dull pocket knife, the dull Swiss Army knife. So the problem is you're asking Keegan to do more because you're not getting other things from other places. Right. So they need to decide what they want, because I don't think – Keegan Murray is a future MVP candidate.
I don't either.
Right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, there's not.
You got one. We can say De'Aaron is. I mean, most teams don't have
too, that you
Most
drafted
don't.
just floating around.
Yeah, no, exactly. I completely agree. Like, you can't ask him to do everything. And you have to, at some point, like you're saying, you've got to ask other people to step up the same way you're asking Keegan. Like Keon Ellis. If Keon Ellis is going to be a part of the starting lineup, he's a guard. He's got to be able to have the ball in his hands and create a little bit. Can he run some pick and roll? We talk about finishing. Keegan's finishing is one thing. Some of the finishes Keon had in fast breaks were just as bad. Like, he's just jumping and throwing it at the rim and honestly hoping for a foul. There's a lot of room for improvement, but I just kind of get bothered every time I hear Keegan's going to fix that. That's part of Keegan's development. It's like, this kid can do so many things. Like, and we already saw this year, the improvement on defense came, yes, but it was at the expense of him shooting 4% worse from the 3-point line. And I do think they're connected because he had to exude so much more effort. So if you're going to ask him to do everything, you also have to understand he's going to fall off in some of those places that you still really, really need him. Because, at the end of the season, they weren't really using Keegan like a lockdown defender. And at that point, the damage had already been done. I would have much rather had Keegan Murray 40+% 3-point shooter at the end of the year than Keegan Murray kind of two-way guy.
Because I even said, and that's what they talked about with the catch and shoot threes. How about Keegan shooting off the dribble?
Sure.
They just skipped over that.
Yeah.
You don't want this guy to become a jack of all trades and a master of none. When we return, we will hear from De'Aaron Fox. What do you have to say after the game on Malik Monk? Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The only place you'll find Keegan Murray is Sactown Sports.
Out to Keegan Murray, straight away for three, and Keegan knocks down the triple.
Hey Sacramento, it's Keegan Murray, and you're listening to the home of Sacramento Kings, Sactown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Jiffy Lube has a special promotion going on right now. Simply purchase a Pennzoil Platinum full synthetic oil change at Jiffy Lube and receive a $25 e-gift card from popular brands for food, gas, and more. It's that easy. Simply purchase a Pennzoil Platinum full synthetic oil change and receive a $25 e-gift card. So basically, going to Jiffy Lube can get you a free lunch or a pizza for dinner. That's what we call added value for the consumer. That's why Jiffy Lube is #1 in the greater Sacramento area for oil changes. Visit jiffylube.com for more details and valuable coupons today.
At Fasteners Inc., we believe adding quality power tools to your lineup shouldn't break the bank. That's why we're hosting the biggest Milwaukee tool sale of the year in Sacramento. On top of insane deals on Milwaukee power tools, all Milwaukee pack-out storage boxes, hand tools, and tool accessories will be 25% off. So come on down on April 27th to the Milwaukee Tool Sanity Sale at Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet on Power Inn Road in Sacramento. For more info, visit fastenersinc.net.
Capital Casino has been serving the greater Sacramento area in the same convenient downtown location for over 20 years, with plenty of close-by, well-lit parking monitored by security staff and offering the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Best food, best service, and the best action. That's Capital Casino. For more information on tournaments and gaming, check out their website at capital-casino.com. And please remember to gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Seems like all this artificial intelligence stuff stirs up the age-old debate of man versus machine. Hi, it's Dan from the Good Feet store, and let me ask you, would you let a robot cut your hair? Would you rely on an app to teach a kid to ride a two-wheeler? Let's face it, some things require the human touch. People come to us seeking a solution to foot, leg, and back pain after trying all kinds of things recommended by in-store machines or website blurbs. An impersonal, generic approach to solving a problem that's unique to you. No wonder they usually don't work. At the Good Feet store, you'll meet with an arch support specialist who will take the time to learn about your needs, your feet, your lifestyle, and then fit you from over 300 models and sizes of arch supports, designed for pain relief, better balance, and more comfort. See what we can do for you with a free fitting. Just stop in or schedule an appointment. With over 200 stores, there's likely one near you. Find yours at goodfeet.com.
Everybody needs Good Feet.
I'm Craig Ashton of the injury law firm of Ashton & Price. Whether you've been injured on a bicycle, as a pedestrian in a slip and fall, auto, Uber, Lyft, or big rig accident, you need Ashton & Price in your corner. When you call Ashton & Price, there's no chatbot telling you to hit 3 for accounting. You're greeted by a real-life person who will immediately transfer you to an experienced attorney. The consultation's free, and there's never a fee until you win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Slightly Stupid.
live in concert. Saturday, April 27th, 7:30 p.m., the venue at Thunder Valley. With special guest Fortunate Youth. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com. Don't miss Slightly Stupid live.
You know the saying, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Kenny and Jerry here from Bell Brothers. And when it comes to air conditioning tune-ups and repairs, it's true.
Sure, I can tell you how great our techs are, how they're experienced, dedicated, and trained to do the job right the first time. Make no mistake, our techs are great. But the way you'll know they care is in the details.
They show it by arriving on time, in clean trucks, wearing clean uniforms. They're clean cut, friendly, and courteous. They communicate clearly and will give you a price up front, in writing, so there are no surprises.
You'll know they care because they will treat you like they care. And like I said, they're also really good at doing the job right the first time.
Call Bell Brothers today to schedule an $87 precision tune-up. Our number is 916-444-1234 or find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
Be listening to Sactown Sports each Friday morning for the Rivercats Weekend Report with team updates and everything you'll want to know about the next exciting Rivercats homestand. Let's go, Rivercats!
Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
A's update as they take down the big bad Yankees in Yankee Stadium. Sorry, Frankie Cardicelli. 2-0. It was 0-0 the whole game, and then my guy Zach Geloff goes Oppo Taco 377 bombo to the opposite field to take the lead, and then the flamethrower himself, Mason Miller, who averages about 102 to 101 miles per hour every pitch, 3 strikeouts.
Yeah, he had a 103 as well on
to
one of them.
end the ball game. So that is Yankees after Aaron Boone got tossed because a fan yelled. The ump told Aaron Boone, "Hey, one more thing and you're out of here." A fan that was sitting above Aaron Boone said something, and the ump thought it was Boone and tossed Boone. That was in the second inning, and apparently that was enough to lose to the A's. So good win for the A's. Chris, I have something here.
What's up?
And we're not going to spend a lot of time on it, but I feel like we have to do it at the beginning of free agency or every once in a while. I feel like we just have to refresh, and it comes in. And you know what? As we were talking about it, I thought about saying something, but I figured, relatively speaking, we all get that. But you're always going to get one of these texts, so I did want to address it and then just kind of move on from there. From the 916, if generations of your family can't flourish with $17 million a year, there's something fundamentally wrong. Then no money can fix that. And I'm not doing that. We do pocket watch when it comes to other teams, not when it comes to players. You know, a wise man once said that they would never put themselves in other people's shoes, right? And I don't know what I would do if I were an NBA player looking at that type of money. But what I do know is this: nobody knows unless you're in that situation. So we understand that these people make monopoly money. I feel like there should be a caveat to start every conversation when we talk about money. Obviously, this is a ridiculous amount of
all
money.
All the generations that it could help.
Exactly.
You know, 17 mil is great, but imagine what 30 mil could do.
Right. This is all relatively speaking. But with that being said, to whoever it is, to the 916, I don't think you can sit there and say, unless you've been in that situation, oh, I can make 20 million a year or 17, and I'm going to turn down 20 mil to have 17.
Think about it like it was your job.
Yes,
just place your job, and then a different competitor offers you I don't know, whatever. Yeah,
these are millions of dollars.
These are millions.
These are millions of dollars.
One of my favorite quotes ever is Jason Giambi when he was on the A's. They asked him, "The A's are offering 114 and the Yankees are offering 121. Why would you go to New York when you're happy in Oakland?" He's like, "What's the difference?" And he said, $7 million.
Right,
Yes.
right, exactly.
$7 million.
And look, we are all people here, whether you're listening, whether you're talking, whether you're producing, right here on this show on Sactown Sports, that I would assume we've never been around that type of money.
Yes.
So maybe you could say, I'll take $5 million, but you just don't know unless you're in that situation. So Malik, in
really
his
don't even
mind,
think it matters if you know or if you don't. It's a matter of personal preference.
Sure.
Like, I'm never gonna,
and I'm not gonna judge
you're
Malik
only
either
saying
way.
that, Texter, because you wish he took the less money. But
Right.
Lord knows, if this was a situation where the Kings were trying to pry somebody from somewhere, you would be saying, well, why would he want to play in
for less
New Jersey
Yeah.
for 17 when we're offering him 25? Sacramento's great. Like it's just, come on, don't.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't be
Yes.
ridiculous.
Yes. Yes.
If we have to explain why that doesn't make sense, then maybe never mind.
All right, let's get to
just keep it.
It's just sometimes
No,
it's like it comes
absolutely.
up, and
Absolutely.
because there's always going to be somebody that says it,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because
No, the smartest guy in the
get
room.
it,
I get it,
but
yeah.
I understand, but I don't like doing that
That's
because
also just not the reality of the situation.
Right.
Like, sorry, that's not sports. Like, it's just not. I'm sorry.
yeah, and that, but it does, and the reason I did want to read it is because it does lead us to what De'Aaron
Yes.
Fox had to say, and
That's
De'Aaron
right.
Fox's approach and thought process as to what he would do or what he thinks Malik is going to do or could do.
I mean, obviously, I think he was extremely big for us. People that watch us play know that he should be sixth man of the year, but at the end of the day, you know that this is a business, and I feel like what he gave to us in the 2 years that he has been here, I feel like he showed his value, what he can do for a team, and I'm happy for him regardless if he's with us or he isn't, and he knows that. But man, at the end of the day, this is a business. You can only play basketball for so long. Yeah, definitely. I mean, for sure. But money talks. Like I said, you can't play this game for forever. We have such a short window to play basketball. Obviously, not everybody's going to be Bron or CP and play 19, 20 years. So you have to be able to get paid whenever you can, obviously. And I mean, that's what Vince Carter told me. And he played 21 years. So man, Malik's, like I said, Malik was great for us. Obviously, I would love to have him back, but I don't know what the future holds.
I mean, yeah, there you have it. I mean, it's really that cut and dry. And I saw a lot of people, I would say, overreacting to that and saying, "Oh,
I did too.
De'Aaron's already conceding.
people.
He's gone. De'Aaron said it there. He's taking more money. It's over." I mean, I just think that De'Aaron is saying what the reality of the situation is. Like, it's a business. He's quoting Vince Carter, who, like he said, played 21 years, and Vince probably told him, "Hey, man, the one thing that is a guarantee is the money you leave on the table, you're not going to get back. It's just gone." And I think that De'Aaron's just being very real about the situation. Malik, everyone knows he can make more money, and no one's going to fault him if he does it. De'Aaron then says, of course, I'm still going to try and pitch him. I'm still going to try and recruit him. We still have things that we think can bring value to his life here. But ultimately, there's nothing we can do if he just wants more money. There's nothing we can do.
There is nothing we can do, right? There's nothing the front office can do. It's just a matter of how much he's offered.
Yeah.
And to that
And that's
point,
not the end all be all either.
right. It's situation.
It's going to play a big factor.
Like I said, you go to Philly and you have Malik had a couple rough stretches throughout this season.
Yep.
You go to Philly, they're going to flame you.
Yes.
Try saying the words Tobias Harris in Philadelphia right now. They want to throw that man in prison because they feel like he is stolen
money. Yep.
from the city of Philadelphia because he got a huge bag and he's done absolutely nothing.
Yep.
They're depending more on Nicholas Batum than they are on Tobias Harris. So it's different everywhere you go. That would be the one. All of these cities are going to have certain things that are going to have pros and cons. At least Malik knows what the pros and cons are with Sacramento, which I believe is a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the biggest point is the one you just made. And it's true of, I heard somebody mention it about Klay Thompson too. Like Klay Thompson does the same thing where Klay has gone up and down throughout the season. And, Warrior fans love Klay. He's got the 4 rings. He's the one who's always been the fun guy. They're never going to criticize Klay. But to your point, Klay goes 0 of 10 in Orlando. They're not going to be so forgiving. They're not going to say, "Oh, Klay brought us 4." They don't care about the 4 rings anymore.
That has nothing to do with it. Or, Malik brought Sacramento on the map, so we don't care that he's tricking off games in Philly. The 916 that we mentioned did follow up here, and we always give people a chance to, to retort.
Especially if you text it.
We are a show of the people. If he gets $25 million, I wouldn't blame him for taking that. But if it's between 17 and 20, for me personally, I would go where I'm happy with where I'm wondering. I think that's what we're all hoping.
Yeah.
We're all hoping it's close enough. Mm-hmm. But if I think that line
22 starts to blur
21, 22, you start thinking about how many boats you can buy.
$5 million extra. $5
million extra. He could buy a golf course. Yeah. He could buy a golf course.
I don't know if you remember during the play-in tournament, during the in-season tournament, the Kings were by trying to motivate their guys to care about the in-season. They were showing what they could do with the $750,000. Malik Monk could do the very same. Or if I'm Orlando, I'm doing the same thing where I'm saying, Malik, there's a $5 million gap between what we're offering versus what Sacramento's offering. And here's the things that you can invest in Florida for $5 million.
And Texas, but whether the Spurs or Orlando, they're going to play up that Texas thing. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Edward, we see you. We will get to you in just a second. Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Last season, the Sacramento Kings gave us a little bit of everything. A Pacific Division type, GM of the Year, Coach of the Year, Clutch Player of the Year, All-Stars and All-NBA performers. Plus, we got to light the beam.
Here's a steal by Fox, the breakaway. He's got the rip with the left hand.
What does this season have in store? Find out. Each and every Sacramento Kings game can be heard right here on your proud home of the Beam Team, Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth, and if you owe back taxes, the news isn't good. The IRS is raising the interest rate it charges on unpaid taxes, and further rate hikes are expected. Most people don't know it, but the IRS adds interest charges to your tax debts daily. So if you owe the IRS today, you'll owe even more tomorrow. And it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. In fact, the experts at Optima have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. Changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Valvoline Advanced can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life oil filter for only $35.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed, you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Grab the keys to a new fuel-efficient Toyota. Take on this new season in California with incredible MPG and peace of mind. Toyota has more hybrids and plug-in hybrids than any other brand. So hit the road with fewer fill-ups and legendary dependability. Just announced, get 0% APR plus $2,500 bonus cash, or get the lowest lease payments of the year on the all-electric BZ4X. Toyota, let's go places. Offer available through TFS to buyers with premium rated credit ends 4/30/24.
Nothing tastes better than a craft beer on a beautiful afternoon. Sunrise Marketplace is transforming the Sunrise Mall parking lot into a backyard hangout on May 18th, featuring the best craft breweries, home brewers, cideries, meaderies, and distilleries, plus food trucks, backyard games, and one of the best events happening this year. Tickets are on sale now at shopsmp.com. Use discount code BREW24 for $5 off general admission. Every ticket helps support Citrus Heights Heart and Citrus Heights Rotary.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for American Energy Heating and Air with a question. Have you recently had a technician diagnose your HVAC system and you were a bit surprised at how much it cost? Or did something seem off about their quote? Because at American Energy, they take pride in giving you honest, straightforward solutions to get that system up and running. Have their qualified technicians come out and give you a free second opinion. It's free. You got nothing to lose but some dollars off of that original quote. They're making the uncomfortable comfortable. They've been doing it since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. That's why they keep having customers coming back for more and more and more. You can call them and set that appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now. Thunder, feel the thunder.
It ignites something inside of you.
Lightning and the thunder, thunder.
Sets alight an elevated state of being. Days are pure exhilaration. And the nights, they're simply electric. See it, hear it, feel it.
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Take it on the local level.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios. Sactown Sports.
Three 1140. Before we get into Sam Amick's outstanding article, friend of the station, great guy Sam Amick, let's get to Edward, who wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Edward? What you got for us?
Well, guys, I have what might be a fairly tough question, but I have two good reasons for asking this question. Okay. I don't know if you'll know the answer. All teams are different, made up of different players with different interests. Some are students of the game who could tell you who every one of the 75 best players in history in the NBA was. Mm-hmm. And some couldn't tell you who Sam Jones was.
Right.
You know, so do we have any players on this team who are students of the game, who really know who everybody was and what they did?
Yeah, thanks for the call, Edward. Off the top of my head, I think if anybody, it would be Sabonis because of his pops. That's someone who's, but I guess
I would think HB.
HB is another good one. I would, but the student of the game, that also kind of bleeds into, I guess, I don't want it to bleed into whether or not I think that they work hard, right? I mean, because that was a huge thing on Anthony Edwards coming out in the draft. How much does he love basketball? Just because, you know, he's a young guy who just had other interests, right?
Sure.
And Anthony Edwards I haven't had one person talk about that ever since he got into the league and started balling. But as far as student of the game,
well,
I guess
would say like also like LeBron's student of the game is different than what De'Aaron's like just the different eras, like who LeBron would think of, back in my day versus who De'Aaron would say back in my day probably differs a lot. Like De'Aaron back in my day is Allen Iverson, is Kobe, and guys like that. For LeBron, it's actually like Jordan and all those guys. So it kind of depends. I feel like, when you bring up the all NBA 75 list, I more bring that up to say, I don't know if any of these guys can list 15 guys off the all NBA list, all 75, because I don't know how much modern players care that much about basketball history. Like even Brandon Miller, we made fun of him this past offseason because they asked him who his GOAT is. And his answer was Paul George. Right. So, that kind of is a symbolic of how these guys kind of frame NBA history.
Yeah. And also, and also, I'm not sure if Edward also meant as far as student of the game as it pertains to learning the game.
Sure.
And watching
like I can
film
take from Tiny Archibald's game or whatever.
Exactly. I see a lot of myself, or I can add this move or that move or something like that. So
I think it's all relative.
It's all relative. Off the top of my head, I would say Sabonis, and I think it's a great call with HB.
But I wouldn't think anybody else. Like I don't think De'Aaron doesn't really clock me as a basketball historian.
Right. Does the student of the game mean historian?
Yeah. I would guess that's kind of the implication. Because, like, again, like how much of it is I watch basketball my whole life. And again, your whole life is different depending on who the player is versus, no, I care about Bird and Magic in the 80s. I care about Oscar Robertson, all that stuff. I just kind of think it's more of a generational gap to where I just don't know how much in general any of these young hoopers really care. Like, I think it mattered a lot in LeBron's era. LeBron can definitely tell you a ton about NBA history, but I don't know how much Jason Tatum can tell you anything about 90s basketball.
It is funny because even taking this outside of the basketball court, I don't know if I will ever get into this, but I was over the weekend, baby Stiles was napping and wifey and I were just watching some music videos, very throwback thing to do. You got small spurts.
Yes.
I can't really watch a movie.
Right.
I don't really feel like watching
really
a show.
Commit to anything.
Yeah. So, let's just watch some music videos or something random like that. And when we went to the YouTube, there was people reacting, and she's not really on social media or as locked in.
I heard this for the first time.
Well, they're sitting in their streaming chair.
Right. Yes.
Watch it. People are watching people watch stuff.
Yes.
And she was just, what are we doing here?
Sure.
What is it? And I said, it's a thing now. People watch people watching stuff.
Right.
So I say all that to say, in the play-in game with the Heat and the Sixers, when Batum was cooking the Heat, there's a streamer who's probably no older than 21, probably not. And the streamer is wearing a Heat jersey. He's got the normal stream setup. If you've either seen it or you've seen your kids watching these streamers, and the streamer had no clue who Nicholas Batum was, who's been in the league for probably 10 years.
Right.
And it was funny to me because these guys are making tons of money, these streamers, and they're talking about basketball. Other people their age, I would hope not older than them, are watching them and reacting to them, and they don't know anything about, they don't even know other rosters.
Right. Yeah. It's incredibly frustrating. I've definitely peeked into, I mean, even like the biggest one, like there's Flight Reacts and dudes like that.
Right.
It's like,
you're watching people watch stuff.
Yes. Oprah Side used to be one way back. And I mean, it's just, I do think it's just a generational gap of a lot of people for whatever reason. I mean, I care tons about NBA history, but I just don't think that's a common thing. I don't think even like Kawhi Leonard, like I don't think guys of that era, I do think it's kind of a lost part of the NBA. Maybe it's something you get more as you age. You kind of have a more appreciation of those who came before you. But ultimately, I don't know how much any of these guys will say, Bam Adebayo, oh, I took some things out of Bill Walton's game. I'm a big Bill Walton. Like, I think all of these guys, for the most part, their frame of reference is the guys that they've seen in their lifetime, which makes sense because you can't forget us as normal people. We love the NBA. We love the history of the NBA. We love it as a product. these guys are actually in it. They don't view it in that same way. They don't view it like, I mean, some of them I think have an appreciation for it, but they don't admire the NBA as much as what we all do. They like basketball, but not the NBA. We've heard a couple different guys talk about the difference of being able to play the sport versus liking the business side and all that comes with it.
Well, and the polls came out as far as the player polls, and they asked who is the best player of all time.
Right.
These are player polls, guys, in the NBA, and it's still Michael Jordan, but LeBron James is catching up.
Right on his heels.
So if what that tells you is that we're all getting older, and these younger
Yes.
players have seen more of LeBron,
Right.
and it's just different.
Yep.
To see live play versus highlights,
Yes.
it's just different.
Yeah.
And the older we get, the players specifically, I think there will always be people that will have MJ over LeBron, but the older we get, these players that barely saw Michael Jordan, if they barely saw Michael Jordan, do you think that they're studying all these other players that weren't as big as Michael Jordan, even if it's a Magic? They're not.
No, they're just not.
They're
just
not. And they don't have to
No, I
be
don't think
completely
so.
honest with you.
Yeah, because the game is so far past that. And I don't know if anything that necessarily, I wouldn't say anything, but I don't know if a majority, if 90% of the things that used to work in the 80s or in the 90s would work today. Like maybe there's a couple, situational things that you can peel from those guys, but ultimately I just think the game is so different now, and the way that it's played is completely different. I don't know how much you can really take from guys that are, from before the 90s, really. I think that's a great point. And to put a number to it as well, in that poll, 133 players voted, 45.9% said Michael Jordan, 42% said LeBron. So, I mean, that's like 1 or 2 vote difference between those guys. And I definitely think you're right. That definitely shows how much of it is just being able to see it with your own eyes versus, watching the highlights and all that stuff. And I do think that's a great note there to mention that if these guys aren't even watching Michael, there's no way they're pulling up Dominique. There's no way they're pulling up Sean Kemp highlights or anything like that.
No, or Muggsy Bogues, my personal favorite.
That's right.
When we return, Sam Amick writes on a possible Mike Brown extension. We know everyone has had a lot to say on Coach Mike Brown this season. Where are you at on Coach Mike Brown? Should the Kings offer him an extension? And what that looks like. We hear from you when we return. 916-339-1140. Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Our first year as the radio home of the San Francisco 49ers is one we will never forget.
It's a toss to McCaffrey, a cutback run 30, breaks 340. McCaffrey midfield. McCaffrey 40, 30, 20, and toasted all the way down to the 3-yard line. On the first play of the game, CMC Dino Mike.
Congratulations to the 49ers on a terrific year. And thank you for so many wonderful memories.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds, which could be life-changing. I mean, you could put that money towards that zero-turn lawnmower you've always wanted. And after using its edge-shaping technology to meticulously sculpt the face of the Mona Lisa into your grass, you'll become the undisputed king of Saturday morning lawn care, leaving your neighbor and sworn enemy Gary to question his place in the delicate neighborhood ecosystem. And it's all because you could save money switching at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Babbel. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at Babbel.com/TNC.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel will help you start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks. So when someone asks, "How's your French going?" you can say,
Babbel facilite grandement l'apprentissage d'une nouvelle langue.
Now try Babbel free. Just text radio to 64,000. Text radio to 64,000.
Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
(916) a great question, and obviously we know what we want. It's to keep Malik Monk. But the 916 asks, what players out there in free agency would be available at a similar pay if Monk were to leave? I just pulled up this Hoop Hypes, Chris, and we're going to do this.
It's kind of a complicated question.
Yeah.
They can't pay somebody else what they're going to offer.
The number you have dialed is...
So what? So how does that, just quickly, just on the surface, if Malik were to walk, how much could they offer the Malik replacement?
12 mil a year is the max. Yeah, is the mid-level exception. They don't have cap space, so they can only offer Malik what they can because he fits into the bird rights. And besides that, all they can fit in is your mid-level exception, which I believe this season is about 12 mil, which is what you have Malik on right now, is a mid-level, or had him on, I guess the season's over. The 2 years, 18 mil or 19 mil, that was on the previous mid-level exception.
So just quickly, this is on Hoops Hype, and they have Malik at number 13. But the names here are not going to be 12 million as far as the free agency. Again, this is only day one. So Chris and I's approach to today's show, we love to pull back the curtain, was to obviously play the exit interviews and just give you a taste of what we're going to be giving you all off season long. There's obviously going to be a lot of Malik Monk talk, a lot of Mike Brown talk, which we're about to get into. But Tyrese Maxey, they have ranked number one. Chris, obviously you can't afford him. I believe the Sixers are going to do whatever they can to keep him. Paul George, number 2. There'd have to be a trade involved there. LeBron James, number 3. Pascal Siakam, who already said he's re-signing with the Pacers, number 4. OG Anunoby, that ain't 12 million. That's number 5. James Harden, that's not 12 million either. Number 6. DeMar DeRozan, number 7. Tobias Harris, maybe he takes a pay cut, number 8. Miles Bridges, number 9. Nicholas Claxton, number 10. Emmanuel Quickly, he's a restricted free agent, number 11. D'Angelo Russell at number 12. Malik Monk at number 13. You get to, after that, Chris, okay, you do get to a Bruce Brown, all right, with a team option. Who knows what they're going to do there. They have Klay Thompson at 15. Klay wants about 20, 25. Valanciunas at 16. You get the point. So, number 17, right when I was going to stop. Buddy Hield at number 17.
Yeah, you should have stopped.
It's going to be a long off season as we turn from the guys on the court to the guys coaching. Sam Amick writes a great article on Mike Brown's possible extension. And Chris, I know we were going back and forth on this, and I will let you break it all down.
Yeah, so Sam wrote an article this morning, of course, for The Athletic, in which he pretty much detailed, it's really, really interesting, Mike Brown's extension and the possibility of it. And I'm going to read some quotes here, and then we're going to further elaborate. This is directly from Sam's piece with The Athletic. There was organizational belief they could and should beat the Pelicans, who are playing without the injured Zion Williamson. And if initial mission was accomplished, they had enough talent to at least threaten the Oklahoma City Thunder in the first round of the NBA playoffs. So that's at least giving us some insight into what was the internal belief of this team. And apparently it's not only, or I guess what it was, the expectation of this team. And it was not only to make it out of the play-in, but to also make some noise in the playoffs. And we heard Malik earlier in his exit interview say he used, again, the term definitely would have been out there in a first-round series against OKC. We don't know which game that would have been, presumably game 3 or 4, but we'll just never know. But the expectation was that the Kings were good enough to beat the Pelicans and to compete against OKC. They, of course, fell short of both of those goals. That's going to play a factor into what we're eventually going to talk about here later in this article. When asked, one veteran said, despite the tangible step back, one veteran was asked, despite the tangible step back, is there at least a level of stability developing? That veteran said, yeah, because we're not going to let go of our front office. We're not going to fire our coaching staff. In Sacramento, that's a pretty big deal. Now, with that said, Mike Brown, according to league sources, desires a long-term commitment at his market rate. Sam Amick put out today that team sources say there has been a wait and see approach from the ownership side on this point, with a feeling from those around the franchise that singular results, the huge win over the Warriors, the gut punch loss to the Pelicans, could weigh heavily into future decision-making. I'll read that again. Team sources say there has been a wait and see approach from ownership from the ownership side to this point, with a feeling from those around the franchise that the singular results, the big win against the Warriors and the gut punch against the Pelicans, could weigh heavily into future decision-making. Sam gives his 2 cents and says that's a dangerous game to play. Ron Adive has not yet approached Brown with an extension offer. Both sides have known for months now that this discussion was nearing, but the outcome of it will set the tone for the Kings' seasons to come. Yet, while another team source says Brown will definitely return for next season, which I guess we can say is breaking news, the conversation about his value beyond the 24-25 campaign runs the risk of being complicated and potentially uncomfortable if Ron Adive is unwilling to reinvest in this partnership. So that, Alan Stiles, makes it sound like Mike Brown is officially on, I don't know if the hot seat is a bit of a polarizing term, but I think that kind of classifies
Chris,
as hot seat. That's the hot seat, right? Where it's like you're officially on watch. You're on notice. I don't necessarily agree with it. I've made my feelings on Mike Brown be known throughout this season. I think it'd be insane to not re-up on what has been the most successful run that you've had in the past 16 years. But nonetheless, I guess it is, in a weird way, putting Mike Brown in a contract year and saying, hey, we think you're the guy, but we'd like you to show it.
Maybe just prove it one more time.
Prove it one more time, and then we're good. It doesn't bring a lot of confidence for guys like me who think Mike Brown should stay long-term. Definitely leans a lot more. That, to me, is, I mean, what are the odds that things go bad? I mean, we saw things went bad this year. I think that there's a 10-15% chance things just go wrong next year, and that leads to Mike Brown being fired. It sounds like things can go relatively well, and Mike Brown still might be fired based off of if they lose big games, if they do this next
season, he will not be here.
He will not be here moving forward.
You have to make the playoffs.
I think that's the baseline, right?
Here's my question. Yeah. I don't know how the contracts line up, and we've seen this before. Sure. I know sometimes teams lay off guys in packages, GM and coach. Sometimes they don't. I don't know what Monty McNair's contract is off the top of my head.
He just got an extension last offseason.
So with that extension, him and Mike Brown were aligned through 2026.
Yes.
That was the whole purpose of that.
If Mike Brown gets his extension.
No, Mike Brown's already through 26. It's past that.
When Brown was hired, it was a 4-year contract. So the initial contract went through 26. Monty's contract was going to expire at the end of 23. He got a 3-year extension. So
but if they're not willing to extend him, that might mean that they want to move on from him at the end of next season.
Very rarely does a coach or a GM ever go into a 1-year contract.
I realize that. Interesting. I mean, I don't know if anybody saw this coming.
I kind of saw this coming. I definitely thought that if they didn't make the playoffs, we were going to hear hot seat rumors for sure. I thought it was going to be both of them, but I think we all knew that there wasn't going to be no consequences for them not making the playoffs. I thought this was always going to happen if they didn't make it, that they were going to threaten, things are going to have to change. You can't just not make the playoffs and say, okay, no, it's fine. Like, you don't make the playoffs, we can't let you think that you can do this again next year.
But my thought process is, the reason I bring up Monty McNair is how much of this is, okay, let's give you the pieces and see what you're able to do with the pieces, which is why this offseason is so important. Because I don't think, I'll put it to you like this. I don't think Eric Spoelstra was winning a championship with this roster.
Sure, yeah.
So if he is viewed as one of the best coaches, Popovich, whoever you want to put in there, I think you have to see Coach Mike Brown with a better roster next season. And I think that's what they're assuming.
I think there's also an element of, hey, like we've seen, like, yes, you didn't have Malik and you didn't have Herter, but you throw out Eric Spoelstra, like we've seen Eric Spoelstra have Haywood Highsmith start in the finals.
And they did win without Tyler Hero and Jimmy Butler in Sacramento.
I think the argument is we feel like, yes, definitely the team played their part, but we don't necessarily know if you elevated the situation. And I think that's just, it's a scary situation to be in. Again, this team finally, even that veteran having that quote of, and by the way, that ask the veteran, there's like 3 guys who would probably be considered a veteran that would know about the Sacramento situation. Something tells me that's HB, by the way, by saying in Sacramento, that's a pretty big deal. That sounds like somebody who has a history with this team. But yeah, I mean, I definitely don't think that's positive for this franchise, which has just been littered with instability year after year after year. You know, it just feels like, you know, we finally have one good year of success and then one off year where you still win 10 games above 500 could set it all back. It's just, It's just crazy how quickly things move. I'm not even saying this is wrong. Like I said, I kind of expected this, but it's just kind of crazy that things are that fickle.
Especially when you did lose a starter and your possible 6th man of the year. When we return, continuing the conversation, what are your feelings on Coach Mike Brown? Should he hang around or do you want him out of town? Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out SactownSports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and The Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, the Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on SactownSports.com.
Jiffy Lube has a special promotion going on right now. Simply purchase a Pennzoil Platinum full synthetic oil change at Jiffy Lube and receive a $25 e-gift card from popular brands for food, gas, and more. It's that easy. Simply purchase a Pennzoil Platinum full synthetic oil change and receive a $25 e-gift card. So basically, going to Jiffy Lube can get you a free lunch or a pizza for dinner. That's what we call added value for the consumer. That's why Jiffy Lube is #1 in the greater Sacramento area for oil changes. Visit jiffylube.com for more details and valuable coupons today.
At Fasteners Inc., we believe adding quality power tools to your lineup shouldn't break the bank. That's why we're hosting the biggest Milwaukee tool sale of the year in Sacramento. On top of insane deals on Milwaukee power tools, all Milwaukee pack-out storage boxes, hand tools, and tool accessories will be 25% off. So come on down on April 27th to the Milwaukee Tool Sanity Sale at Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet on Power Inn Road in Sacramento. For more info, visit fastenersinc.net.
So here's a fact. 85% of the population will suffer from foot pain in their lifetime. That's almost everyone. So you'd think there'd be plenty of healthy long-term remedies, but there just aren't, right? Hi, I'm Dan from the Good Feet store. You know, people come in all the time sharing the same frustrating story. Bought this, tried that, been there, done whatever, all different kinds of things, but all with a similar result. Nothing. A discouraging and endless cycle of disappointment. If this rings a bell, don't despair. There is hope. If you think you've tried everything, you probably haven't tried Good Feet arch supports from the Good Feet store. They're designed to relieve, even eliminate the pain commonly caused by certain foot conditions like plantar fasciitis, bunions, flat feet, and others. Plus, provide better balance and increased comfort. See what we can do for you with a free arch support fitting. Just stop in or schedule an appointment. With over 200 stores, there's likely one in your neck of the woods. Find yours at goodfeet.com.
Everybody needs Good Feet. Elevate your golf game at Timber Creek Golf Course in Roseville. Just named to the prestigious Golfer's Choice 2024 Top 25 Public Golf Courses in all of California by Golf Pass. Timber Creek offers an unparalleled experience. Our revamped practice facility features a grass driving range, expanded putting greens, and a chipping area complete with sand traps. Whether you're a pro or just starting your golf journey, Timber Creek is the place to be. Visit us and discover why we're the talk of Sacramento and beyond. Unwind and tee off at Timber Creek Golf Course.
Country in the Park is back May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Jay Cohen, Walker Hayes, and more. Tickets start at just $46. Country in the Park May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPfest.com.
Brought to you by Tub Shed, New Dawn Treatment Centers, and Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers.
Jerry and Kenny here from Bell Brothers. And if you've even thought of replacing your old, outdated, inefficient windows, now is the time to take action.
Right now at Bell Brothers, when you buy one window, you'll get the second one for 30% off. That's right. Buy one, get the second one 30% off.
That's real savings, up to $6,000. You have to buy at least 4 windows to qualify, and you can't mix windows and doors. But beyond that, every second window is 30% off.
For example, when you buy 10 windows, you will get 5 windows at 30% off. We also have 0% interest financing available for qualified buyers. Call for details.
To take advantage of our buy one, get one 30% off sale, call Bell Brothers now at 916-444-1234 or find us online at theNoSurpriseGuys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
Be listening to Sactown Sports each Friday morning for the Rivercats Weekend Report with team updates and everything you'll want to know about the next exciting Rivercats homestand. Let's go, Rivercats!
Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
Chris, did you want to? Yeah, we got a note.
Yes.
From the
source
writer,
itself,
from the source, Sam Amick, and he hit us up because he is a friend of the show, as we've mentioned. And yeah, there was a little bit of confusion. We were going back on the years with Coach Mike Brown. There is a mutual opt-out after next season.
Yep.
So it is not a contract through the next 2 seasons. Mutual opt-out after next season, which at that point would be we probably no longer are wanting your services if we don't. From the 916, and we see you, Ashley and Steven, we'll get to you. From the 916, this is crazy talk. Brown has been a revelation for this organization. How about address the players, the lack of defense, athletic players, lack of star power that isn't on the roster? Monty should be on the hot seat. I suppose a new GM might want to bring in his new coach.
I just, from like not being around this situation too, does it seem crazy that this is a team that has found success and now is openly talking about maybe not bringing back their head coach? And, people have, I would say, have definitely equally been coming down Monty McNair's road as well.
Yeah.
Does that seem a little quick to you?
Not for it's a tough situation. You ran it back because you felt like they earned it, and they've said that. They've been open about, this team earned the right to run it back. And that's why it's always funny when people say, I just want to be competitive. And even in Sacramento, years, I just want to be competitive. Because if that were the case, then you would have had fun this season.
That's right. It would have been a
because you
blast.
were still more competitive than you had been.
People out there, but
there were some people out there, but most people said
98%.
Honestly, I think that 3 seed was a blessing and a curse. I think it was a blessing because of how much people in Sacramento enjoyed it. I think it was a curse because, let's be completely honest, you got hot and you were healthy, and other teams weren't.
Yeah.
And realistically, you probably should have been a 5 or a 6 seed.
Probably.
Because becoming a 9 seed after a 5 or 6 seed doesn't look as bad as going from 3 to 9, to out. And even though we can be honest and say, it's just 2 completely different seasons.
Right.
Throughout the Western Conference. You had a really down season last season. Then you had a ridiculous season this season. So there's multiple things at play here. I don't think anybody should be on the hot seat until the end of next season.
In a weird way, running your own race has never been harder, right? Where it's like you try and focus on only what you're doing, but you kind of can't because of all the competition that's running around you. And you have to, you've said it tons of times, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. And I think that has never been more clear and evident than in this Western Conference, where if you're staying stagnant, there's so many teams around you that are just constantly getting better, looking to improve, or at least know which direction they're going. And the Kings right now, the Ringer article, a lot of it was pretty much centered on how do you get out of the middle? Because that's honestly the worst thing you could be is figuring.
Meet me in the middle.
How do you figure out how to at least establish which side you're going to be on? Of course, the Kings want to be on the good side, but when we talk about this team not having enough talent, that's where you have to wonder, like, to your point, did they get good too early and convince themselves that the talent was already there, when in reality, we look at the 8 seed New Orleans Pelicans and we say, I don't know if we have as much talent as them.
No. And look, the way I see it is, if you're Monty McNair and you start to see the writing on the wall, if, okay, they're not extending Coach Mike Brown, or they haven't even began those conversations yet. We've heard with all these podcasts now, I love them. We've heard former GM say, well, I made this move because if it doesn't work, I'm gone anyway. That would, if you are someone that doesn't want, and Kevin O'Connor, who he still hasn't responded to my DMs, he put out, you need to start thinking about moving Keegan Murray. That's what I start thinking about. Does that cross anybody's mind? Sure. If you're Monty McNair, I mean, I got to take a big swing here. You want to be serious
about winning?
If I want to, if y'all want me to win.
Winning.
Now, then how could Keegan not be on the table?
Absolutely.
Because if we can keep Keegan, we don't make a leap, and then I'm out of a job.
Exactly.
So this thing could get real spicy. 916-339-1140. Let's go to Ashley, who wants to be a part of the conversation. What's up, Ashley? What you got for us?
Hey, so I'm going to go a little bit JJ Redick here and say, if we get rid of Mike Brown, short of something where we're like a 9, 10 seed, 11 seed, and it's not because of something like a De'Aaron Fox goes out for the year or something like that, it's it's franchise malpractice, if you will. I think that it'd be crazy to get rid of Mike Brown because he's, I believe, second, if not our third winningest head coach of all time. So short of something where, like I said, we're like really, really bad like we used to be, or we're getting someone like a Popovich, or we're getting not Bill Belichick, but like someone like that in the NBA ranks, I say it's franchise malpractice.
Yeah, thanks for the call, completely. Ashley. I think it would be tough because you have to understand where you're at as an organization. And you might not be where you want to be, but you're finally in the conversation. And maybe that's not where you want to be forever, but I do think that after, what would that be? That would be after 3 years and all he did was go to the playoffs and then go to the play-in, and then whatever happens after next season, you move on from that, especially if it's the same roster. And I've been on these Grizzlies and these other teams that we didn't even talk about this season. If you don't make any moves, and there are people out there that think Kevin Huerter's saying, so if you do run it back to some degree, or you lose HB and make one move and you miss the playoffs again, I think it really depends on how you miss it. If you miss it like this and there's injuries, look, I hate to use the word fair in sports because things aren't fair, but I don't think that would directly be on Mike Brown, but some people would see it like that. 916-339-1140. Let's go to Steven, who wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Steven? What you got for us?
Not much, boys. So this Mike Brown talk has kind of got me, I wouldn't say a little fired up, but I don't think it's necessarily fair. I mean, granted, it's off season. You know what I'm saying? It's all part of the talks and everything. I completely get it. But I feel like another caveat is just like that text said, man. I feel like Monty McNair is just as equal because he did not. I have been super adamant and super hard on Monty because he did not. I'm one of those where I feel like he should have made moves because everyone else in the West has been making moves and we stay stagnant, just like the points that you guys have been making. I feel like Monty McNair definitely should be just as equally responsible as Mike Brown, even though Mike Brown is the coach. Monty, you're supposed to give Brown the players and be like, here's what I got for you. Here's what I have sourced for you. These are the players that I feel like will be successful and that will work best for you. And it is up to those players at that point in time to execute the coach's game plan. There are a lot of hand-in-hands here as far as the points that I'm making, but my main point is that Monty should be just as equally responsible, or he is the guy that builds the roster. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, thanks for the call, Steven. I'm personally giving Monty McNair a pass because after you break that drought, the drought, breaking the drought or ending the drought, and the ridiculous market thanks to the Minnesota Timberwolves is why I'm giving Monty McNair a pass for this trade deadline.
Yeah.
Now we have to see what happens during this summer.
Yep.
And that's where I'm at with Monty McNair. And then after what happens with Monty McNair and the roster, that will determine where I will be at with Coach Mike Brown.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's where I can't really speak. I'm just, after 16 years, you go to the playoffs. I get it. I get why they did it. And on top of the fact that, you want a first rounder for this guy who's coming off the bench? I mean, what are we talking about here? The market.
Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington did Dallas wonders the other day.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Seriously.
Really glad they risked it all for that.
And now you have people saying, well, he should have done this, should have done that. Well, look, we know what the price tags are. You can't have. Everybody knows what the value of HB and Herter is right now. So unless you're ready to move Keegan Murray, which nobody wants to do, you can't have it all. But this is why Monty gets paid the big bucks. Not that we're pocket watching. Yeah. You got to figure it out.
Yeah, no. And I'm to Ashley's point earlier about, and I think it's a fantastic point, and it's something I've been wondering too. Like, you want to get Mike Brown out of town. Who are you bringing in? Because if you're kicking him out, I would assume you don't want to take a risk on a young, hot name. You're not looking for the Sean McVay of coaches anymore. You're not looking for the young upstart guy, because if you get that wrong, you throw away this timeline. You got to get in a guy who's ready to win right now. Mike Brown is number 48 on the all-time coaching wins list. So that means that we have like 47 guys who have more wins, who have a better pedigree than Mike Brown. And how many of these guys are also ancient or no longer with us? Like, you have Byron
how many
Scott.
are still coaching?
Byron Scott's got more wins. He's 2 higher on the leaderboard. You got obviously Mike Malone, but he's not going anywhere. Frank Vogel, he's probably not going anywhere. You have Mike Budenholzer. You have Dwayne Casey, Terry Stotts, Alvin Gentry. Funny enough, he's not coming out of the booth.
These guys,
Stan Van Gundy.
We've seen this movie before.
Yeah, like all of these are Mike D'Antoni, Nate McMillan. None of these guys are really moving the radar for you if you're the Kings.
You'd have to take a chance, Chris.
These are, and it just doesn't make sense to me. Mike Brown is the youngest guy who also has the pet. Like, Mike Brown is the perfect guy right now. I don't know where you would go.
The only one of the names you listed that's moving the needle is Budenholzer, and even that compared to Mike Brown is like there's a conversation there.
Right.
Like, it's
that's just change. You could argue that's change for the sake of change.
Right. That's like those graphs that you see when you say, do you want this person to stay or leave? And it all says red. It's all red, and then there's a piece that says yellow, and it says yes, but also in yellow. Yes, it's just the same. It's the same thing.
Exactly.
It's the same thing. When we return, crosstalk with the Drive Guys. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
De'Aaron Fox plays here.
Stolen by Fox. Breakaway coming up for De'Aaron. And a simple, casual spike with the left hand. The Kings lead by 3.
Sactown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee, structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for my good friends at American Energy. Now, I've told you this before, but this is what we call extending a good deal. Right now, American Energy Heat and Air is offering an HVAC diagnostic for $99. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Never mind. They're offering it free. It's a $99 value, but you get it for $0. Let the American Energy team test your system connections and all the moving parts of that system to ensure that it's functioning properly. Now, this is a limited time offer. Call today to schedule your appointment at 916-520-9990. Speak to the company that has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau that's been making the greater Sacramento area proud since 1981. 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Hey, UC Davis fans, Aggie football season tickets are available now. Whether you're coming out to see the dynamic, fast-paced offense under new head coach Tim Plow and All-American running back Land Larison, or bringing the kids out to roll down the grass hills and run on the field at halftime's more your speed, UC Davis Football Games has something for everyone. Secure your 6 Saturday games now with a season ticket package by calling the ticket office at 530-752-2471 or go online at ucdavisaggies.com/tickets. Go Ags!
At Ashton & Price over the last 25 years, we've won just about every injury case you can think of. Slip and fall, falling merchandise, fell through rotted decking, we won those. Dangerous stairs, falls into holes, dog bites, won them. Injured while pedestrian or on a bicycle, auto, motorcycle, big rig, company vehicle, Uber, or Lyft accident, we've won them all. And the best news is there's no fee until you win. So no matter how you got injured,
remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Welcome to the April Adventures sales event at Kia Vacaville, where they're ushering a new season with unbeatable lease options for their 2024 lineup. As April blooms with possibilities, it's the perfect time to discover the thrill of driving a Kia, featuring the luxurious and versatile Kia Telluride. During April Adventures, Kia Vacaville is excited to unveil their top models with irresistible lease offers. Feel the exhilaration of the all-new Kia Sportage, blending captivating design with dynamic performance. Experience the impressive fuel efficiency of the Kia Niro, a hybrid wonder that stretches your adventures further. And don't miss out on the chance to boost your journeys with the luxurious comfort and practicality of the Kia Telluride. Available now at Kia Vacaville. Embrace the look of spring with their eco-friendly Kia hybrid options, tailored for those who seek efficiency without sacrificing style, with the EV9 in stock. Kia Vacaville is your premier destination for electric excitement. Model availability, lease options, and features may vary. For more details, visit Kia Vacaville and embark on your April adventure today.
Are you tired of your tee shots ending up in the adjoining fairway while the rest of your foursome is hitting it down the middle? Well, experts will tell you that being properly fitted for golf clubs will help you strike your drive center cut. The Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio and its team of trained PGA professionals are ready to help you get rid of your banana balls and duck hooks. Hagen Oaks Indoor-Outdoor Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
Increase leads and get more customers. We create tailored digital marketing strategies that deliver results. On your next campaign, aim higher. Go to aimyourdigital.com and get started today. aimyourdigital.com.
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
We are joined, brand new tag team, by the one, the only Whitey Gleason of the Drive Guys. Whitey, how are you doing?
Good. I have a trivia question for you guys.
Ooh.
You may already know it. You may have already
This
run
is giving me
across
flashbacks. What were we doing during Super Bowl?
Football
Super Bowl
feud.
week. Oh.
Yeah, it's a two-parter. The first part you may know. The Kings are the first team to win 46 games and not make the playoffs since who? Do you know?
I know there was that season where Golden State
that's
Phoenix had a ton of
exactly.
wins. I probably would have guessed
It was Denver in 2017-18. They won
Wow.
46 and didn't make the playoffs. So
that was
part
before
two,
the play-in too, huh?
Yeah. Part two, who was on both teams? The Nuggets team and this Kings team that won 46 and didn't make the playoffs.
My guess would be JaVale.
Nope.
Trey Lyles.
Yeah.
Trey Lyles.
That's what I was going to say.
Well,
Trey
way to
Lyles.
go.
There you go.
Point Allen. Sure.
I got one.
So it's Trey's fault, is what you're
Yes,
saying.
because he was traded for the pick that became Donovan Mitchell with the Jazz. Not a good trade by the by the Nuggets.
Whitey, how do you feel about, did you get a chance to listen to the exit interviews? We played some of them on these
Only
airwaves.
the little bit I heard on your show. Haven't heard a lot of it yet.
Anything stick out in particular?
I
know it's kind of tough because
that's
5 different.
The
people.
Keegan stuff is really interesting. What he said about the way teams are playing him and played him this year. I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah. And now with the Sam Amick article that came out and the conversations about Mike Brown and the mutual opt-out after next season, this becomes a huge season, even bigger than I think we even thought. And the Mike Brown thing is tough, man. It's one of those things where you look back and you say, feels like he hasn't been here that long, but things move fast in the NBA. And I don't know how much I'd put on him, but what I do know is this. You can put it on the players, and it's not even that I don't believe you, but how you lose and how things end matters. And I think it was a bad taste in everyone's mouth the way it ended, even trying to understand or even actually understanding that Malik Monk was out and that Kevin Huerter was out. You got to stop blowing 20-point leads, even in this NBA. And you probably, if you're going to do that, do it at the beginning of the season, not the end.
Thought it was interesting what HB said in the athletic piece. That was, you said Amick, it was Amick and Slater.
That's right.
And Slater.
Right. My guy Slater.
Right.
My guy Slater.
And he said there were too many games where, he said, oh, yeah, we lost some games end of the year. But I mean, it's funny. It's Harrison Barnes is like a caller saying, early in the year, there's a lot of bad losses in there. We didn't come with the right frame of mind.
Mm-hmm.
That was fascinating. I don't know. As far as the coach thing goes, to me, if the Kings on any level are thinking, time to move off of this guy, that would be a horrible mistake.
Insane.
Yeah. It would be horrible.
I just don't even understand what the thought process would be. Like, I understand if, maybe, you fell short of what expectations were this year, but you still won 46 games. That's still 10 games above 500. And I do think, I don't love it when people throw out the, just as a blanket, oh, you had 16 years of failure, but it is true in this sense. Like, this is a lot better than what you've had in the past and how quickly he turned it around. I don't know if he's overall the best coach out there, period, but I don't know if it's worth trying to find a better one. Like, I think you have a pretty good one, and you should probably run the course of what always happens with these situations. We just brought up Mike Budenholzer. What's happened to him the past couple times is you get your team up to a certain level, and then you just keep hitting your head on that ceiling, and eventually they look for the guy to replace you. Feels like they haven't even let Mike Brown get to the point where he's hitting his head on the ceiling time after time. They just said, you reached it last year and you were never able to reach it again, even though we only gave you a season and a half.
Yeah. And the thing is, though, that he, as we all know, we talked about a lot during the summer, Chris, the things they did. Oh, they made this move. Hopefully that'll improve them. They made this move. None of the things they did, virtually none of the things they did in the offseason worked to improve them. Then they didn't do anything at the deadline. Okay, you can take the patient approach. We'll see. But if that's the approach, then it's not fair to look at the coach and go, well, you didn't do as well as last year. That's just, I think that's really short-sighted.
Yeah.
The only time, and this isn't the only time a coach gets let go, but really the only time it makes the most sense is when it's painfully obvious that a team underperformed. And I don't know if it was painfully obvious this season that the Kings underperformed. I feel like they underperformed, but I don't know if it was obvious, especially because of the injuries.
You're trying to have it both ways there a little bit. So I'm just wondering what your opinion. It's fine. Your opinion.
Do I
is
think
valid.
that they underperformed?
Well, you kind of said I think they did, but you couldn't really tell. So I'm just wondering what you really.
I think they underperformed based on what happened prior to the injuries. I think that we can put Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter's injury in a separate bucket and put that to the side and say that they underperformed when they were healthy, because they were healthy for a good amount of the season while other teams weren't healthy. And they did not take advantage, which would have allowed them to survive during the time where Malik and Kevin got injured.
Did anybody on the team, who on the team played better than they had the year before?
Sabonis, probably.
Keegan in some ways a little bit.
Keegan in some ways, but I would say overall probably not.
Yeah, Monk probably.
Malik, so, and even in go ahead.
No, I was just going to say let's take that into account too.
Yeah.
Guys
underperformed.
Yeah.
I don't know how much.
But I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying if guys underperform, the coach is always is ultimately the scapegoat.
Yeah.
Coach is going to get the least amount of credit when they win and the most credit when they lose.
And again, like Chris said, it gets tiresome when we talk about, it's been so long and they were so bad, but it's true. And it's been a while since the Kings had a legitimate coach. Yeah. We had one with Coach Michael Malone. Weren't sure of it at the time. Thought we did. We were right. Now you have another one. Look how many guys the Kings have hired who don't get another head coaching job anywhere. So now there's some suggestion that they might be unhappy with Mike Brown. It's bizarre.
I don't think it's that they're unhappy. I think they're trying to figure out, are you the guy to take us there? But if I'm Mike Brown, I'm saying you haven't given me the tools to take you there. And it depends, and then it's up to Vivek and how he views it.
Please
how
no.
he views it.
Please no.
That's just what it is. All right, Whitey. Well, you got Whitey Gleason, you got Kyle Draper.
Drape's Takes, season-ending edition.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah,
that's a tease.
I know what I'll be listening to on the way home. Thank you for listening to Stiles and Watkins. Kyle, great job today with all the different moving parts that we had. Thank you to all the callers as always. And until tomorrow, secure the bag like the beam.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sactown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sactown Sports app.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive.